Chapter 2221 Fang Yuan's Principles. Chapter 2221 Fang Yuan's Principles. Longevity Heaven's luck path Tao marks were originally from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's immortal aperture, because it did not devour any nine heavens fragment, heaven's will had not taken over it. As long as he fought in Longevity Heaven, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's strength would be even greater than Spectral Soul Demon Venerable in Crazed Demon Cave. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's own luck path Tao marks could not match Spectral Soul Demon Venerable in number. But with the colossal number of Tao marks in Longevity Heaven, he surpassed Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's main body. And most importantly, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was sane and clear-minded. It is a pity that I cannot fuse this original immortal aperture into my current body. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not lack methods to move an immortal aperture. Once he fused with Longevity Heaven, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's strength would surge immensely. His luck path Tao marks would greatly surpass and suppress Fang Yuan. By then, he could travel the 5 regions and 2 heavens without any worries. After all, Longevity Heaven was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's peak cultivation creation, it was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's foundation after passing 3 chaotic disasters. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan had only passed 1 heavenly Tao blockade, he had survived the chaos tribulation in Crazed Demon Cave, it could only be considered a small chaotic disaster. But right now, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had a reason why he could not absorb Longevity Heaven. Because he cultivated Blood Path now. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable wanted to use Blood Path as his main path and Luck Path as his specialty, his plan was to cultivate both paths. Since he had planned this for so long already, he naturally had a superb Blood Luck dual cultivation method. But he did not have the sovereign immortal body, no matter what he did, conflicts of Tao marks still existed. Right now, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had only started cultivating Blood Path officially for a short time, he had many Luck Path Tao marks but few Blood Path Tao marks, this difference was already the limit. If he fused with Longevity Heaven now, he would gain a surge of Luck Path Tao marks that would suppress Blood Path entirely, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's dual cultivation plan would fail. Although I cannot regain Longevity Heaven now, in terms of refining natural Tao marks, I have the biggest advantage, that is my immortal essence. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had the largest immortal essence storage of the 3 venerables. Currently, he had 1,000 yellow apricot immortal essence beads. Most of it was left behind in Longevity Heaven during his first life. He had an even larger quantity stored back then, but there was continuous expenditure as time passed, because Longevity Heaven could not produce any more immortal essence after Giant Sun's demise, eventually, only less than 10% of his immortal essence was left. But this quantity is definitely the highest among everyone. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was confident about this. Because he knew that Heaven Refining Demon Venerable Fang Yuan had just advanced, his rank 9 immortal essence storage was 0. As for rank 8 immortal essence, he definitely had some but it was a small quantity as well. It was obvious, ever since Fang Yuan's rebirth, his cultivation level had risen rapidly, he had almost participated in all the major fights. He also refined so many immortal GU and made various immortal GU houses, with such an investment, how could he have a lot of immortal essence left? And the thing that made Giant Sun Immortal Venerable most glad was that Fang Yuan got hit by his Luck Path killer move in Crazed Demon Cave, fortune and disaster coexists. Even though Fang Yuan made use of this killer move to end up deceiving him, it was undeniable that the sovereign immortal aperture suffered huge losses in the end. Together with the small chaotic disaster, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable estimated that the sovereign immortal aperture was definitely in a pitiful state right now. This was Fang Yuan's situation, but Star Constellation Immortal Venerable also could not have more immortal essence than Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. The reason was quite simple. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's era was too long ago. Even if she left behind a large quantity of immortal essence, Heavenly Court's GU Immortals would have expended them over the years. In fact, 3 Demon Venerables, Limitless Demon Venerable, Reckless Savage Demon Venerable, and Red Lotus Demon Venerable, invaded Heavenly Court after Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's era. When Heavenly Court resisted the 3 Demon Venerables, could they have avoided the use of venerable methods which expended the immortal essence left by the Venerable? Regrettably, the 2 heavens are fusing and the Heaven Path Tao marks are gathering with the change of environment, I had no choice but to retrieve Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace. Otherwise, my advantage would be even greater. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had no choice but to move Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace back. With Luck Suppression Heavenly Palace in Immemorial Black Heaven, it could continue to arrange Luck Path Tao marks and participate in the operations of heaven and earth, as well as the luck of living beings. It could allow the black heaven above northern plains to become Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's territory that he could manipulate. Back then, in the Reverse Flow River battle, Heavenly Court organized a group to head to northern plains, but they suffered a loss in immemorial black heaven. It was mostly the effect of luck suppression Heavenly Palace. Now, with the fusion of the two immemorial heavens, the luck path Tao marks that luck suppression Heavenly Palace arranged in the past were affected by the change, they became chaotic and broken. If he forcefully protected these luck path Tao marks and resisted the changes of the Heavenly Tao, the whole of luck suppression Heavenly Palace would be affected and face destruction. These days, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had been healing himself while observing the situation, he had a rather clear understanding of it now. In the 5 regions and 2 heavens, no matter how the environment changed, the battle between the Venerables was the only thing that mattered. For Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, be it Star Constellation Immortal Venerable or Heaven Refining Demon Venerable, they were both unprecedented enemies. In the short term, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could not find a way to exterminate these two enemies, he could only try to weaken them while maintaining his advantage. The abundance of immortal essence was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's advantage. If I use this advantage well, I will be able to refine the luck path Tao marks of the world first. On this basis, if I fight against either of the two Venerables, I will be able to gain the upper hand. Once I gain the upper hand, I will have to heavily cripple Heavenly Court or Fang Yuan. If I can't do that, a lot of trouble will ensue. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable felt a sense of urgency internally. If he missed the opportunity of using this early period of advantage, as time passed, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would plot and scheme deeper as a wisdom path expert, she would get harder to deal with. There was another point, they had to guard against Star Constellation Immortal Venerable secretly reviving the other Immortal Venerables of Heavenly Court. This was the same for Fang Yuan too. Right now, his immortal essence storage was at its lowest. Once it started to rise, with his refinement path ability, he would refine immortal GU on a large scale, his strength would rise greatly, far beyond now. Refinement path Venerable, thinking of Fang Yuan's declaration as great love earlier, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could not help but frown slightly. He could already predict that Fang Yuan's strength would cause a huge impact on the GU immortal world. This strength was so colossal and unprecedented that even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could not tell what the future would become because of Fang Yuan's actions. After all, there had never been a refinement path Venerable in history. Refinement path was different from the other paths. GU cultivation had 3 major aspects: nurture, use, and refinement. Refinement path was one of these 3 aspects. This was a special trait that no other path had. Heavenly Court. Cough, cough, cough. In a tightly shut secret room, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable coughed out several mouthfuls of blood. The injuries from the battle in Crazed Demon Cave had not recovered yet. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable cultivated Wisdom Path and Star Path. She was not as skilled as Giant Sun Immortal Venerable in terms of healing, who cultivated Blood Path. GU immortal injuries were usually very troublesome. Venerables were no exception to this. Heavenly Court did not lack outstanding healing methods, but for the case of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, very few were suitable. Because she had too many Wisdom Path and Star Path Tao marks, healing methods of all other paths were barely usable. Human Path was an exception, but in the whole of Heavenly Court, there were no Human Path pseudo-venerable experts. This was the lowest requirement to heal a Venerable's injuries. Thus, other than healing herself, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had no other methods. I still have 671 yellow apricot immortal essence beads. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable frowned. I did not have many to begin with, some were consumed during the battle in Crazed Demon Cave as well. I still have injuries on me. If I continue healing myself, yellow apricot immortal essence beads would be rapidly expended again. After that, I still need to refine Heavenly Court's Tao marks and the natural Wisdom Path Tao marks of the world. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable calculated precisely. She had sufficient immortal essence for now, but Wisdom Path experts calculated 10 steps in advance. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was definitely deducing more than that. The immortal essence storage was not enough for her to refine the Wisdom Path Tao marks of the outside world. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's situation was different from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. There were a large number of Wisdom Path Tao marks in Heavenly Court, but they did not belong to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Because Heavenly Court had annexed 9 heavens fragments, even though Star Constellation Immortal Venerable contributed her own immortal aperture to this place, her original Tao marks had all been assimilated and taken over by Heaven's will. Of course, during the process of refining Tao marks in the outside world, Star constellation Immortal Venerable's current immortal aperture would still produce rank 9 immortal essence continuously. But star constellation Immortal Venerable felt that this was an extremely dangerous situation. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable or Heaven Refining Demon Venerable might attack at any time. Thus, the more immortal essence she had in her storage, the better. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable must have more immortal essence than me. As for Heaven Refining Demon Venerable, he is the weakest among us in this aspect. But he cannot be underestimated. This man is very special. Star constellation Immortal Venerable thought of this as she revealed a complex expression. Fang Yuan's earlier declaration of being great love Immortal Venerable shook the entire world. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was wary of Fang Yuan's refinement path ability, while Star constellation Immortal Venerable focused on his nature. In the history of the 10 Venerables, Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable was noble and grand, Limitless Demon Venerable was a crazed Tao pursuer, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable enjoyed slaughter, Reckless Savage Demon Venerable was wild, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable was indifferent, while Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable was obsessed. But no matter what, each of these Venerables had their own pride and arrogance in some way. But Heaven Refining Demon Venerable Fang Yuan. Star constellation Immortal Venerable squinted her eyes, she had never seen a Venerable with such a nature. He simply did not know the limit of what the word, shameless, was, he did not care about his face, he distorted truth and lies, even lying with a calm expression and deceiving with a righteous tone. What great love Immortal Venerable! Star constellation Immortal Venerable was certain that this title was part of Fang Yuan's current plan, it was a method to achieve his current goals. If it was said that anyone in the world could go from demonic to righteous, Fang Yuan was the least likely one among them all. If he felt the need to make a move, he would do it regardless of how many innocent lives would be sacrificed. By then, the declaration of great love Immortal Venerable and all related promises would be completely forgotten by him like a baseless fart. But if he felt that going back to the righteous path had benefits to be gained, he would make another similar declaration with no shame in his heart. Star constellation Immortal Venerable had finally understood Fang Yuan clearly now. If I have to say that this person has a principle, then his principle is to have no bottom line. And if I say this person has a bottom line, then his bottom line is to have no principle. This was simply a thoroughly shameless person. When Star constellation Immortal Venerable felt a headache regarding him, this shameless fellow had already become venerable. And the thing that made it hard for Star constellation Immortal Venerable was that this shameless Venerable had an incredibly deep understanding of the human heart, to the extent where he could predict their every thought. His actions were bound to create a huge wave in the GU Immortal world before gathering countless people to his side. The temptation of Immortal GU was too great. Even if they could not trust him now, some risk-taking GU Immortals would still try their luck. Once Fang Yuan displayed sufficient sincerity, the entire 5 regions GU Immortal world would fall into his palm. Even Heavenly Court will not be spared from this, Star constellation Immortal Venerable smiled bitterly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2222 Fang Yuan's first public deal. Chapter 2222, Fang Yuan's first public deal. Western Desert. The silent desert suddenly exploded as sand flew in the air, a huge mountain-like beast appeared from underground. This beast had the shape of a python, it had a crocodile head and 6 sharp eagle-like claws. Dragon Crocodile. An immemorial dragon crocodile. The dragon crocodile roared, the sound waves spread widely, but there was a trace of fear and panic in its voice. The dragon crocodile had the ability to climb clouds and soar to the sky. After leaving the desert, it flew straight up. But midway, the dragon crocodile's body shook suddenly as it spewed out a torrent of flames from its huge mouth. The dragon crocodile growled in pain as it fell to the ground, creating a huge sand wave as a result. After it struggled for a while, it gradually quietened down and stopped moving entirely. After a while, 3 GU Immortals came out of its mouth. 2 males and 1 female. They were from 3 super forces of Western Desert respectively, being Shikong, Zuo Chu Yanming, and Tuo Bafeng Yan. Shikong cultivated Earth Path while the other 2 cultivated Fire Path. It was a fact that the most common cultivation path among Western Desert's GU Immortals was Fire Path. The final dragon crocodile is dead. According to our 3 clans' agreement, this dragon crocodile belongs to Sister Yanming. The only female here, Zuo Chu Yanming, nodded as she opened her immortal aperture's entrance, placing this immemorial dragon crocodile into it. She observed within her immortal aperture and showed a smile on her face. this immemorial dragon crocodile's corpse is good, many Dao marks are preserved. It was all thanks to Brother Feng Yan's plan that we killed it like this. I'm flattered. Tuoba Feng Yan smiled. If not for Brother Shikang's method, we would not have been able to enter the dragon crocodile's stomach and take this risk. The biggest credit goes to Brother Shikang. I'm flattered as well, this is our mutual effort. Shikang smiled as he replied modestly. Dragon crocodiles lived in immemorial Black Heaven, but recently with the fusion of both heavens, their living habitat was badly affected. After a dragon crocodile group lost in a territorial fight, they had to escape from immemorial Black Heaven. They wandered along a route, passing Zuo Chu, Tuoba, and Shi clans' territories. These three clans negotiated and each sent a rank 7 GU Immortal expert to get rid of these dragon crocodiles that were in poor condition already. Shi Kong, Zuo Chu Yanming, and Tuoba Feng Yan worked together, spending 3 days and nights to wipe out this dragon crocodile group. But right when they were about to return to their own clans, they received orders from their clans simultaneously. Oh, one clan wants to gather the clans and attack Fang clan together. Hehe, so the first one that acts as one clan after all. Now it seems, because as three are the closest to one clan's territory, they sent us this order together. The three immortals discussed for a while before deciding to travel together. Even though this is not far from one clan, we still need to rest and reorganize ourselves. Indeed, we need to treat our injuries first. The dragon crocodile corpses in the immortal apertures have to be dealt with too. Shikang thought about it before smiling. On this journey to one clan, we will pass by Myriad Ore Desert. That resource point is guarded by my clan's Xizhong, we can go there and rest. For resting, the environment of the wilderness was definitely worse than a resource point. Every resource point had an immortal formation, it was safer too. Zuo Chu Yanming and Tuoba Feng Yan looked at each other before turning to Shikang and nodding. The latter said, "Then we will trouble you this time." Shikang laughed heartily. Gladly. Myriad Ore Desert was relatively flat and the surrounding view extended to the horizon. The ground was a cracked rocky terrain with no vegetation growing. But below the desert, there was a different world altogether. A large amount of ores were gathered here. 100,000 rockmen were living here as miners, excavating all sorts of materials for GU immortals. But these rockmen were all mortals, they were GU masters at best. With limited strength, they could only excavate mortal ores. Thus, Shi clan sent a GU immortal to guard this place while simultaneously excavating immortal ores. This was a tough mission. Normally speaking, a GU immortal sent here was someone who got ostracized by the clan. Shi Zhong was such an example. Shi Zhong's father betrayed the clan and caused huge losses to them, not just in resources but also GU immortals' lives. In order to gain trust, Shi Zhong changed his name to Shi Zhong I to express his loyalty to the clan. But that did not change anything. At this moment, Shi Zhong's divine sense was moving about in Treasure Yellow Heaven. In Treasure Yellow Heaven, the most eye-catching thing now was that huge piece of primordial domain. This is the legendary secluded domain of heaven and earth. In the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable sold this to Heaven Refining Demon Venerable Fang Yuan. If I can get a piece, how good would that be? Shi Zhong felt incredibly envious. The reason why he knew about the origin of this primordial domain was because Fang Yuan had spread the news. The idea was simple, he wanted the world to know that even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable made a transaction with him. What was there to fear? Of course, now that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was exposed as the creator of Blood Path and had also started cultivating it, he was labeled as a demon venerable by Heavenly Court. Above the primordial domain, there was a will. This will had a human-shaped form, he wore a white robe and had black hair, his facial features were peerless, it was Fang Yuan's will. Heaven Refining Demon Venerable, if I ask him to refine GU, will I be able to obtain Wealth GU? No, that is too risky. Wealth GU is my hope of rising up, how can I give the GU recipe to Fang Yuan? If he succeeds in the refinement but does not give the GU to me, I will be making a stupid mistake. There is nothing I can do to a venerable. This thought only flashed in Shi Zhong's mind for a second. Shi Zhong had obtained an incomplete immortal GU recipe of Wealth GU in his early days. Wealth GU was a legendary immortal GU, if Shi Zhong could refine it, he would soon become incredibly wealthy and accumulate lots of cultivation resources, breaking free from the clan's restraints. In order to refine Wealth GU, Shi Zhong had secretly used humans to refine GU. If such a demonic act was exposed, he would be in huge trouble. Even though he took such a huge risk, he had tried to refine it for over 100 times but all his attempts ended in failure. He was still far from success. Shi Zhang had naturally heard Fang Yuan's declaration, but he did not dare to risk it. Wealth Gu was all the hope he had. Oh, Gu immortals are getting closer. Right at this time, the immortal formation suddenly alerted. Shi Zhang's expression changed, he immediately went out of Treasure Yellow Heaven and controlled the immortal formation. At this time, Shi Kong was leading the other two immortals as they stayed in the sky, at the edge of the formation, without entering deeply as they waited. After Shi Zhang contacted them and verified their identity, he learned of their intention. I am so glad that Brother Shi Kong came here. Please, everyone, come in. Shi Zhang showed sufficient enthusiasm. The three immortals entered the immortal formation and rested for a while. Shi Zhang held a small banquet and invited them to join. He even specially gave the main seat to Shi Kong. After Shi Kong rejected it a few times, he sat down on the main seat. As the other two immortals saw this situation, they thought of a rumor and understood why. Compared to Shi Zhang, Shi Kong was a popular person in Shi clan. Not long ago, he had defeated everyone else and obtained Sandheap Blessed Land. On this trip, after killing the dragon crocodiles, Shi Kong did not need to hand them over to the clan, he sold many of them in Treasure Yellow Heaven directly. Seeing such a treatment, Zuo Chu Yanming and Tuo Bafeng Yan felt very envious. This time, Wan clan is leading everyone and gathering Wan clan's forces to attack Fang clan. What do both of you think? After some drinking, Shi Kong asked. Zuo Chu Yanming said, Wan clan and Fang clan have deep grudges, it is not strange that they are leading this. Since they are using a proper reason, there is no issue with their action. But I think that Wan clan's decision now will cause problems in the future. That's right, I hold the same view. Tuo Bafeng Yan put down his glass. Firstly, with the disappearance of the 5 regional walls, Western Desert has several clans by the borders of the regions, it is difficult to get them to make a bold move. Secondly, Fang clan is not weak, their first Supreme Elder has rank 8 cultivation level and they most excel in immortal Gu houses. Thirdly, Fang clan has a good relationship with many clans. During the Fate War, they had led everyone in the fight, causing their reputation to rise greatly. And fourthly, which is the most important reason. The reason why we are targeting Fang clan is because of their trading with Fang Yuan, but this is also our fear. Who knows what their exact relationship with Fang Yuan is? Shi Kong nodded continuously, sighing. Brother Tuoba's analysis is sound and clear, I agree completely. Shi Zhang did not speak, he was in deep thought. Tuo Bafeng Yan's analysis was simple and Shi Kong knew it as well, but he had to ask this. Because Shi Kong represented Shi clan, he had to talk with Zuo Chu Yanming and Tuo Bafeng Yan to see what their clan's intentions were as well. Now that he knew their views were aligned with Shi clan, Shi Kong felt more relaxed. Come, drink wine, drink wine. Shi Kong raised his cup and smiled warmly. After the meal, the three immortals thanked Shi Zhang before setting off for Wan clan. Shi Zhang stored away the cups, he had a heavy mood. Shi Kang's treatment by the clan was too good, it was simply the opposite of him. Earlier, when Shi Kong was in closed cultivation, the clan provided him all the resources he needed. After Shi Kong took Sandheap Blessed Land, the clan rewarded him immediately. The dragon crocodiles he killed were all kept as his property, it was a lucrative job. As for the journey to Wan clan, there were no risks and the outcome was basically decided, he would be welcomed by Wan clan. Instead of a mission, it was like a reward. Sigh, my hope still lies in wealth Gu. When can I refine this Gu successfully? Heaven refining demon Venerable, no, I will not ask for anyone's help. The risk is too big. Even though Shi Zhang set such a determined goal, after 100 failures in refining the Gu, he had already started to feel dejected. His intuition vaguely told him that with his strength alone, the chance of refining wealth Gu was slim. Thus, unknowingly, he entered Yellow Heaven again with his divine sense. Within Treasure Yellow Heaven, Fang Yuan's will suddenly opened his eyes as he spoke in a grand tone. This rank 7 movement Immortal Gu, Capture Wind Gu, has been refined as per the request of Southern Borders Wuyong, we will make the transaction now. What? Shi Zhang was shocked. At this moment, every Gu immortal who was inside Treasure Yellow Heaven gasped. Under everyone's gaze, Wuyong's will got close to Fang Yuan's will, the latter tossed rank 7 Capture Wind Gu to Wuyong's will. Wuyong's will nodded and said nothing, he left Treasure Yellow Heaven with the new Immortal Gu. Someone actually made a transaction with Fang Yuan. And it is actually Southern Borders Wuyong. Shi Zhang had a dazed expression. 1. Zhang means loyalty. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2223 Fang Yuan's Protection. Chapter 2223, Fang Yuan's Protection. Southern Border. Wu Yi Mountain. Wu Clan's Blessed Land Headquarters. Wu Clan's GU Immortals were gathered. Wu Yong sat at the main seat. Most of the GU Immortals here were present, only a few individuals had no way of coming and sent their wills instead. These last days, we have received letters from Ba Clan, Tai Clan, Luo Clan, Hu Clan, and the others. Take a look at them. Wu Yong waved his hand, more than 10 information path GU worms flew out. As Wu Clan's GU Immortals looked through them, their expressions turned grim and dark. The contents of these information path GU worms, to put it mildly, were empty of value. They were merely using a righteous tone to condemn and question Wu Yong as to why he would make a deal with a demon like Fang Yuan. Some of them even threatened to withdraw from the Southern Alliance, arguing that Wu Yong was not qualified to take up the role of the Alliance leader. They demanded that the Alliance leader should be replaced by a more capable person. These fellows, HMPH, they are shameless. I can't stand this. There are many super clans involved here, most of them have once worked together with Lu Weiyin, right? Back then, Lu Weiyin and Fang Yuan cooperated to kill Spectral Soul and escaped from Heavenly Court's pursuit. Now, they have the nerve to come and reprimand us. They want to change the Alliance leader. Hee, in the whole of Southern Border's GU Immortal world, is there anyone more suitable than Lord Wu Yong? Wu Clan's GU Immortals discussed among themselves, speaking in an angry tone. Wu Yong did not speak, he drank tea calmly as he listened to the Immortals' conversations. The Immortals got louder and more riled up, their tone became agitated and they wanted to exact revenge on those clans. Wu Yong put down his cup at this point, raising his hand slightly. The Immortals saw this and immediately kept quiet. Many of the Wu Clan GU Immortals who had stood up uncontrollably in anger quickly sat down. Wu Yong's gaze swept across everyone as the hall fell into silence. This is my Wu Clan. Wu Clan was expressionless, but he was incredibly pleased internally. Ever since he took charge of Wu Clan, he had been leading them through crises. They experienced many battles and even chased after Fang Yuan. Most importantly, Wu Yong had incredible political skills. He gained the loyalty of the whole of Wu Clan. Among them, there were not just the original Wu Clan GU Immortals, but also the new Lone Immortal External Elders, and the newly advanced rank 6 GU Immortals of recent times. In the earlier discussion, these people did not raise any objection or suggestion towards Wu Yong's decision and method. This showed how much prestige Wu Yong had in his clan. Supreme Elder Ba Chong, explain the situation to everyone. Wu Yong said plainly. Yes. As the second Supreme Elder, Wu Ba Chong stood up and said to the present GU Immortals, days ago, Heaven Refining Demon Venerable, no, I mean Great Love Immortal Venerable, personally sent us a message. He contacted First Supreme Elder and insisted for him to undergo a public transaction. Thinking of Wu Clan, which cannot block Fang Yuan's rage, First Supreme Elder had to endure the humiliation and agree to Fang Yuan's request. Wu Clan's Immortals looked at each other. Some had a change of expression, some clenched their fists, while some gritted their teeth. They could feel the immense pressure from Fang Yuan just by hearing this account. Fang Yuan acted in an unrestrained manner. In this situation, it was logical for Wu Yong to be forced into such a transaction. But at the next moment, Wu Yong laughed loudly. Oh Ba Chong, no need to say this to them. We are all one family, I will tell you the straightforward truth. The Immortals tensed up and focused. Bright light shined in Wu Yong's eyes. This is not my first transaction with Fang Yuan. Before this, we have already done several secret transactions. Fang Yuan's evidence is not fake. Saying so, Wu Yong paused for a second. Seeing that the hall was silent and that every GU Immortal still looked at him with a heated gaze, Wu Yong nodded in satisfaction, continuing, the reason for this is very simple. Firstly, be it the previous Fang Yuan or the current Venerable Fang Yuan, he is an existence that we cannot provoke. Secondly, making transactions with Fang Yuan benefited us greatly. Our Wu Clan gained several new Immortal GU recently, they were all Fang Yuan's creations. If we had to refine them ourselves, we would have spent many times the immortal materials without any success. Wu Clan's Immortals were silent. Wu Yong looked around and went past Wu Ba Chong, his gaze ending up on Wu Chao. Wu Chao shuddered and instantly stood up, speaking in a shivering voice. But now that these super forces are reprimanding us, how should we deal with it? Wu Yong smiled as he nodded at Wu Chao. Good question. Saying so, he extended his hand. All of the information path mortal GU flew back to him. Wu Yong blew lightly. A slight breeze went in the air, destroying all of the information path mortal GU immediately. These so-called accusations are completely useless. Wu Yong snickered coldly. Will they dare to attack us? The immortals were stunned. Wu Yong leaned back on his chair. He was high and mighty as his gaze swept down on everyone. Do you still not understand? Everyone, times have changed. The Fate War, the pursuit battle against Fang Yuan, and the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, after all these, Heavenly Court's foundation has already been expended. Even though star constellation Immortal Venerable revived, she had no choice but to announce that the other two Venerables were of the demonic path. But both Giant Sun and Fang Yuan are also claiming themselves to be Immortal Venerables. They do not agree with the Demon Venerable title. What is immortal? What is demonic? What is righteous path? What is demonic path? The immortals were all shaken. Wu Yong laughed. With the conflict of three venerables now, the 5 regions and 2 heavens will enter an unprecedented great era. If we still use our former judgment to differentiate righteous and demonic, we will only be devoured by the terrifying tides of the new era. Didn't you see how Fang Yuan spent no effort to recruit the entire Righteous Qi Alliance? Our Southern Alliance, against these venerables, is completely useless and powerless. It is impossible to lead a group of sheep to defeat a fierce tiger. Furthermore, against these venerables, we are not even considered sheep. The only thing that can fight a venerable is a venerable. Us pitiful worms need to survive between the cracks of the venerables. We need to work hard and absorb more nutrients to strengthen ourselves. If we can gain the pity of destiny, we might have a chance of survival. Give up the so-called pride of the righteous path, break free from the restraints of cheap morals and virtues, abandon your superiority complex as a GU immortal. These are all superficial and worthless things. Like the information path mortal GU I destroyed earlier, a venerable can kill all of us GU immortals with just a simple breath as well. Finally, Wu Yong raised his volume and said solemnly, work your very best, spend every minute and second of your life to fight for survival in this terrifying great era. Yes, we have learned much from First Supreme Elder's wise words. Wu Ba Chong, Wu Chao, and the other Wu clan GU immortals stood up and replied solemnly. Western Desert, Wan clan headquarters. A banquet had just ended. In the main hall with many used cups, there were only several Wan clan GU immortals left. Rank 6 GU immortal Wan Zhuiqing smashed the cup in his hand on the ground in anger. These hypocritical and vicious clans, they are a disgrace to Western Desert. Don't they have the glory and resolution of the righteous path? Wan Zhuiqing shouted in anger, his face was flushed red. Zhuiqing, Wan Xiao frowned slightly. Am I wrong? Wan Zhuiqing was still furious. These last days, we held a small banquet every 3 days and a large banquet every 5 days, but what about these GU immortals? They are all giving vague replies and refuse to give definite answers. Zhuiqing, Wan Xiao shouted, forget it, forget it. At this time, Wan clan's first supreme elder left his seat with a solemn expression, but his back seemed to be bent and weak. The remaining Wan clan GU immortals fell into deep silence. Outside Wan clan's headquarters, Tang Fangming and Tang Miao flew in the sky while looking at the stars. They were very relaxed. Occasionally coming out to relax is a good decision, brother. Tang Miao smiled. Tang Fangming nodded, having the same feeling. He was the rank 7 GU immortal expert in Tang clan who received the most support, but different from Shikong. The reason why Tang Fangming was supported and placed great importance upon was because he had extraordinary talent and aptitude in dream path exploration. This time, they went to Wan clan because Tang Fangming's beloved sister Tang Miao wanted to go sightseeing. Brother, Wan clan attended to us really nicely. They are very determined to deal with Fang clan as well. After negotiating with the various clans these days, Wan clan has already relented multiple times. When do you think the alliance army will be formed? Tang Miao asked. Tang Fangming smiled coldly. The alliance army against Fang clan is not going to be created. What? Why? Let's take an example. Tang Fangming sighed. Currently, the 5 regions and 2 heavens is like a forest with 3 fierce tigers that are exceptionally scary. Tang Miao's eyes lit up. Brother, you mean the 3 venerables? Tang Fangming nodded. Other than these 3 fierce beasts, there are many birds, rabbits, and fish. Right now, a small bird called Wan wants to deal with a small rabbit called Fang. The bird knows it cannot win alone, so it gathered other birds and rabbits to try to pay a high price, in order to bully the individual. However, the rabbit named Fang is currently leaning on a fierce beast. Nobody knows if the fierce beast will get angered if they touch this rabbit. If the fierce beast moves, no matter how many animals the bird named Wan gathers, they will all become food for the fierce beast. Tang Miao was somewhat surprised. Brother, you mean to say that this is the reason why these super forces cannot form an alliance army? Tang Fangming nodded again with a solemn expression. No matter how harmonious the banquet is, or how intense the negotiation between one clan and the others get, they are all superficial in nature. The truth is that these animals are shivering in fear and deeply alert regarding the beasts. If any of them move in the forest, none of the animals can stop them. Tang Miao took in a deep breath. Thankfully, our Tang clan has been in contact with Lord Fang Yuan since long ago. We have undergone countless transactions. In my opinion, since Southern Borders Alliance leader Wu Yong made a transaction with Fang Yuan publicly, our Tang clan can also. Absolutely not, Tang Fangming said. Every action by Lord Fang Yuan contains deep meaning. The reason why he exposed evidence earlier and showed the transactions with many forces and GU Immortals, without mentioning our Tang clan, is because he is protecting us. Our Tang clan cannot compare with Southern Borders Wu clan, or even Fang clan. We are a weak force in Western Desert. Because of our territorial location, we would be easily ganged up on and attacked. At this time, we cannot cause any commotion or raise attention to ourselves. We should only continue to work with Lord Fang Yuan in secret. We cannot waste his efforts. Of course, the information of Wan clan gathering the forces can be sold to Fang clan as a favor from us. Fang clan and Lord Fang Yuan have many transactions. From this angle, they are our natural ally. Tang Fangming spoke frankly, but he had a clear view of the situation. Tang Miao listened with shining eyes, gaining realization as well. But at this time, Tang Fangming's expression changed slightly. Brother, what's wrong? GU Immortals are transacting with Fang Yuan again in Treasure Yellow Heaven. There are 3 people this time. Among which, 2 are from Northern Plains and Central Continent. Tang Fangming replied quickly with a flash of excitement in his eyes. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2224 Power of a Refinement Path Venerable. Chapter 2224 Power of a Refinement Path Venerable. A lump of fire was burning quietly in Fang Yuan's hand. The fire was only the size of an infant's fist. Its color changed constantly. If a refinement path expert saw it, they would shout out in shock. Because the change in the color of the flame was only the superficial appearance, the essence was something different. For example, red flame meant fire refinement. When it was white, that was light refinement. When it was icy blue, that was ice refinement. Fang Yuan clenched his fist lightly. The flame disappeared instantly. Fang Yuan kept silent as he fell into deep contemplation. A long while later, he blinked his eyes and retracted all of his scattered thoughts. During this period of time, he had been personally refining Immortal GU and did not activate 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool at all. He refined more than 10 Immortal GU that were mostly rank 6 and 7, it was not an accomplishment for someone like Fang Yuan. But in this process, Fang Yuan gained a considerable harvest. His current refinement path attainment level was at Supreme Grand Master. Any GU refinement method was very easily discerned by him. He could understand their full profundity. No GU recipes had hidden secrets in the eyes of Fang Yuan. Right now, Fang Yuan could modify most recipes with a single attempt. Even for the more profound Immortal GU recipes that needed some time to modify and expended a lot of effort to deduce appropriate Immortal materials, by simply using Fang Yuan's refinement path intuition, he could just take a look to understand the exact direction that the Immortal GU recipe should go in. Fang Yuan tried many times. His attempts confirmed that this intuition gave correct answers with certainty. This was the same for modifying refinement path killer moves and GU refinement methods. Once, when Fang Yuan was refining GU, he had an inspiration and thought of a new GU refinement method. He succeeded on the first try. When he personally refined GU, Fang Yuan could feel a sense of control. This sense of control greatly raised the success rate of refining Immortal GU. When he refined the various Immortal GU, when he got to a certain point of the refinement process, Fang Yuan would have a feeling that success was guaranteed. Even if the GU refinement was going to fail, Fang Yuan still had the sense of control. He could predict the failure of the GU refinement in advance. After all, even a refinement path Venerable could fail when refining Immortal GU. On one hand, it was the refinement method. If any human error occurred, failure was guaranteed. On the other hand, the various paths still had their own constraints. For example, refining Fire Path Immortal GU would need a large amount of Fire Path Immortal materials. Fang Yuan's control over the Fire Path Immortal material would be much lower naturally since his Fire Path attainment level was way inferior to Refinement Path. But when I try to refine Refinement Path Immortal GU, the success rate is basically 100%. Of course, I have not tried to refine rank 9 refinement path Immortal GU yet. Fang Yuan had already confirmed this point. Refinement path Immortal GU would use a large amount of refinement path Immortal materials. Fang Yuan's control over these refinement path Immortal materials was 100%. On this point, be they old eccentric Tian Nan, old Immortal Kong Ju, or long hair ancestor, they could not compare to Fang Yuan. Because Fang Yuan was a refinement path Venerable, he could refine the natural refinement path Dao marks of the outside world. Refinement path Immortal materials contained refinement path Dao marks, they were also subjected to this. Thus, Fang Yuan had perfect control over these Immortal materials. Thus, as long as there were no errors in the refinement method, with few Immortal materials from other paths, the refinement path Immortal GU's refinement would have a success rate that was infinitely close to 100%. In terms of GU refinement success rate, Fang Yuan had already surpassed 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool. This was under the condition that he had little practice and was not proficient in many refinement path methods and killer moves yet. Even though Fang Yuan was a refinement path Venerable now, he still had a long way to improve in terms of refinement path. Other than practicing more and gaining experience, in the future, when my other paths, attainment levels rise, my success rate in refining Immortal GU of those paths will also rise rapidly as well. It is a pity that I cannot retrieve the primordial domain in Treasure Yellow Heaven yet. Fang Yuan did not have a way to retrieve the primordial domain, thus, he kept the primordial domain that he obtained from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable in Treasure Yellow Heaven. He continued to pay the fee for storing it there. Thinking of Treasure Yellow Heaven, Fang Yuan recalled the 3 GU immortals that transacted with him earlier. These 3 came from Southern Border, Central Continent, and Northern Plains. They had open transactions that used their real names, thus the 5 regions GU immortals learned of the details. The Southern Border GU Immortal was a member from Chao Clan, which was Wu Clan's vassal. The open transaction between Chao Clan's GU Immortal and Fang Yuan was likely instructed by Wu Yong to alleviate the political pressure on Wu Clan. Other than that, there was the Lone Immortal from Northern Plains and Demonic Immortal from Central Continent. The truth was, after Wu Yong's transaction, there were many GU Immortals who wanted to secretly contact Fang Yuan for Immortal GU refinement. But Fang Yuan's rule was that the transaction had to be openly done, thus, many GU Immortals hesitated. Only a few GU Immortals, because of their own nature or external pressure, accepted Fang Yuan's rule of an open transaction. Afterwards, Fang Yuan chose these 2 people. They did not have high cultivation level, they were rank 6 GU Immortals that were at the bottom of the GU Immortal world. Maybe it was because of their identity at the bottom, these 2 were more inclined to take risks and try to change their current situation. It was like how poor people often disregarded their lives, while rich people were cautious and scared of dying. Of course, these 2 people were no longer in Northern Plains and Central Continent. Nobody knew what Heavenly Courts and Longevity Heaven's reactions would be after they made a transaction with Fang Yuan. These 2 GU Immortals were not stupid, they escaped to another region immediately. In the past, this action would have many drawbacks. But with the dissipation of the regional walls and the unification of the 5 regions, as well as the movement of chi tides, the heaven and earth chi of the 5 regions became the same, there were no longer differences. Thus, no matter which region a GU Immortal went to, they would not be restricted by heaven and earth chi. The following period is crucial. Fang Yuan did not know what the reactions of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would be, he was anticipating them with alertness and wariness. According to his deductions, there were 4 possible reactions from the 2 Venerables. First, they could send subordinates to kill these 2 rank 6 GU Immortals. This was easy, Fang Yuan purposely chose them back then because they were weak. If these 2 died at the hands of Longevity Heaven and Heavenly Court, Fang Yuan would be very happy. Second, the 2 Venerables cooperate to attack Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was very wary against this situation, but he wanted to see this as well. Third, the 2 Venerables target Treasure Yellow Heaven instead. This situation would be the same as crippling the foundation of Fang Yuan's Great Love GU refinement plan. But the possibility was too slim. Ever since Treasure Yellow Heaven appeared, it had existed until now. During this time, Heavenly Court, Longevity Heaven, Shadow Sect, and other geniuses and outstanding experts wanted to find Treasure Yellow Heaven, but they all failed. Even now, Fang Yuan did not know where Treasure Yellow Heaven was. It was truly an extremely mysterious existence. Fourth, which was the most likely situation that the 2 Venerables would choose, was to ignore Fang Yuan's GU refinement business since they could not stop it anyway. They would target other aspects, like elevating their cultivation and forces, to try and use other advantages against Fang Yuan's Great Love Gu refinement plan. The truth is, ever since we left Crazed Demon Cave, the contest between me, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had already begun. Whoever can develop the best will have the greatest advantage in our upcoming fights. Advantages may not become victory in the end, but as advantages accumulate, the eventual outcome will be affected for sure. Fang Yuan had a clear recognition of his standing among the three venerables. Recalling the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan was aware that he could win because he had the most accurate combat tactics. Because Fang Yuan only showed pseudo-venerable battle strength, and because the venerables had been using him as a pawn all along, they did not think much of him subconsciously. Be they Giant Sun Immortal Venerable or Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, they treated each other as the greatest threat. This gave Fang Yuan a lot of room to maneuver. But venerables were not so easily deceived. Thus, Fang Yuan purposely exposed his ambition in refinement path, causing the two venerables to find out that he was trying to become venerable through refinement path. After that, when he had sufficient accumulation in refinement path attainment level, he purposely gave up the fight over primordial domain in front of the two venerables. With the refinement path portion of primordial domain destroyed, both venerables knew that Fang Yuan could not become venerable in the short term. They let their guard down against him. On this basis, Fang Yuan continued to expose his weakness. For example, Zhan Yudu had been extremely high profile in the few fights he was in. It caused a huge headache for Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Thus, Fang Yuan purposely let him die at Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's hands. Or for example, Reverse Flow Protection Seal, Peaceful Soil Heavy Mountain Fortress, and other methods that the venerables knew about. Fang Yuan purposely used up these methods so that the venerables would be even less on guard against him. Fang Yuan had even planned to sacrifice the Qi Si clone purposely. But even at that extent, the two venerables were still not assured about Fang Yuan. At certain times, they worked together to try to eliminate him first. That was the most dangerous moment for Fang Yuan. He had both internal and external threats. His life was hanging on a thread in many situations. After all, Spring-Autumn Cicada could not be used. Thankfully, Fang Yuan got through those ordeals and finally saw the light of day at the end of the tunnel. The two venerables consumed each other's strength, while Limitless Demon Venerable's appearance and Paradise Earth's Venerable Ascension attempt caused the two venerables' attention to be shifted to them. Eventually, Fang Yuan took a chance to kill Paradise Earth and repel the two venerables, becoming the greatest winner in this battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Other than the proper combat tactics, the most important criteria for victory was that Fang Yuan had made all sorts of preparations before the battle started. Fang Yuan obtained Ability Gu and Fortitude Gu. They were extremely useful in Crazed Demon Cave. Fang Yuan raised the cultivation level of his subordinates, allowing White Rabbit and Miao Yin to fight against Duke Mei and Duke Tong. Fang Yuan deduced and modified many killer moves like Dang Hun Luo Po Seal, Road of Life, several hundred totem killer moves, Heaven Envy's heroic geniuses, and countless compound killer moves. Fang Yuan even created the artificial earth vein and defensive food path methods. He also prepared dream path killer moves. Most of them were used in Crazed Demon Cave. If he had not made ample preparation, even if Fang Yuan had the proper tactics, he could not last until the end. I became a refinement path venerable and gained the most benefits in the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable are placing a huge focus on me now. I need to do everything to raise my strength and develop further. That is how I can accumulate my advantage in the contest of three venerables. The results of development now would be the crucial factors affecting the victory of the contest of three venerables in the future. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2225 Enemies on one hand, Cooperation on the other. Northern Plains. Chapter 2225 Enemies on one hand, Cooperation on the other. Northern Plains. Longevity Heaven. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable held onto an information path mortal Gu as he thought to himself and sighed with a calm expression. To think that as a venerable, I will actually be unable to do anything against a mere Northern Plains rank 6 lone immortal. With Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's temper and nature, Gu immortals publicly transacting with Fang Yuan were simply provoking him. In the past, such a Gu immortal would have already died countless times. The pride of a venerable was not to be trampled. But now, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable summoned one of the 8 extremities and said, "Go, secretly transmit to the Huang Jin tribes to try to recruit this person." Whoever succeeds will receive my special reward. Yes, the member of the 8 extremities answered and left respectfully. At this time, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could not make any statements personally, it would be disadvantageous to him and Longevity Heaven. But he could let the Huang Jin tribes take action. This was the political skill of an experienced ruler. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable knew that Fang Yuan's great love Gu refinement plan could not be stopped. It was an open scheme that everyone could see, but the desires of Gu immortals could not be suppressed. If Giant Sun Immortal Venerable tried to stop it, or if he ordered people to kill this Northern Plains lone immortal, he would lose the hearts of the people in Longevity Heaven. He might be able to suppress it for a while, but the more he stifled it, the deeper this discontent would accumulate, and when it erupts in the future, a huge problem would occur in Longevity Heaven. Eventually, the result would be simple. Northern Plains lone immortals and demonic cultivators would find Fang Yuan for public transactions. After that, they would leave and escape to the other regions. Most likely, they would go to Eastern Sea, which was under Fang Yuan's control. That was the same as Fang Yuan using Immortal Gu to lure these lone immortals and demonic cultivators of Northern Plains to Eastern Sea, strengthening his own heaven and earth great love alliance. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable would not fall for such an open scheme. Fang Yuan is too arrogant, he does not have enough immortal essence, but he dares to publicly provoke us. HMPH, we need to retaliate. If the battle in Crazed Demon Cave let Giant Sun Immortal Venerable learn of Fang Yuan's battle strength, then currently, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable learned of Fang Yuan's shrewd and ruthless political skills. Thinking about it, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable took out an information path Immortal Gu from his immortal aperture. The information path Immortal Gu quickly flew towards Central Continent. Central Continent, Heavenly Court. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was also thinking of a way to deal with Fang Yuan's method. She called for He Feng Yang and personally talked to him before giving him a mission. When He Feng Yang left Heavenly Court, he was still in a confused state. The mission that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable gave him was to publicly transact with Fang Yuan and refine a new Immortal Gu. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's countermeasure was even more simple than Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's. Since Fang Yuan declared that he would show his great love to the world, refining Gu for enemies and allies alike, Heavenly Court would use this to their advantage. It was a fact that they could not stop his scheme, thus, making use of it to gain benefits was a wise choice. Of course, Heavenly Court and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would not make transactions with Fang Yuan openly, this was still not acceptable. After all, they had denounced Fang Yuan as a demon venerable earlier. As for the transaction between Fang Yuan and He Feng Yang, be it success or failure, Heavenly Court would stay indifferent towards it, showing a political attitude that they would not care about the actions of the 10 great ancient sects in this aspect. This way, the 10 great ancient sects would get involved and obtain many immortal Gu, that would raise the strength of Central Continent as a whole. If Fang Yuan were to reject them or state an absurd price, it would go against his earlier declaration, causing him to lose his credibility. Weakening Fang Yuan's credibility was also a sort of victory for Heavenly Court. Qin Dingling appeared with 2 information path Immortal Gu. Oh, after Star Constellation Immortal Venerable took a look at them, she fell into contemplation. The first one came from Southern Borders Wu Clan. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable looked into it. Southern Alliance leader Wu Yang, the first supreme elder of Wu Clan, wanted to have an open transaction with Heavenly Court. Wu Yang seemed to have forgotten that he had led the Southern Alliance to oppose Heavenly Court during the Fate War. A hint of appreciation flashed past Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's eyes. This Wu Yang is truly remarkable. Earlier, he had transactions with Fang Yuan, now, he wants to transact with Heavenly Court too. His ambitions are not small. But it is good too, agreeing to this will benefit Heavenly Court. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable made a decision to hold transactions with Wu Yang immediately. On one hand, she was showing her attitude that she was tolerant towards any transaction with Fang Yuan. On the other hand, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was also trying to pull Wu Yang to her side. Fang Yuan and Wu Yang were very close now, if she rejected him, he might likely join his side. This was not something Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wanted to see. As for the second information path Immortal Gu, it came from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. The content was simple, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable wanted to cooperate with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable to take action against Fang Yuan together. Of course, they were not going to ally without any basis. After all, during the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had cooperated to a certain extent against Fang Yuan, who became venerable. The battle in Crazed Demon Cave had just ended, the Venerables had not gotten much stronger since. If the two Venerables joined hands against Fang Yuan now, they would only be asking for humiliation, it would not end well. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's idea was to continuously use luck path methods to survey Eastern Sea and investigate heaven refining Demon Venerable. If Fang Yuan made any attempt to refine rank 9 Immortal GU, a huge fluctuation in his luck would be observable, by then, they would use the chance to deal with him. Right now, Fang Yuan was very strong, both Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would be repelled by him, but his advantage was not big enough, so the two Venerables were still quite calm. However, once he refines a rank 9 Immortal GU, he would have to expend a huge amount of Immortal Essence. Especially during the crucial moments of GU refinement, if the two Venerables find a chance to attack Fang Yuan's major flaw, he would be at his weakest. If Fang Yuan fails the GU refinement, he would suffer a terrifying backlash as well. After all, the refinement of a rank 9 Immortal GU was extremely significant. Regarding Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's suggestion, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable agreed without second thought. The truth was, she had her own set of investigative methods to spy on Eastern Sea as well. She was guarded against Fang Yuan, who could be refining rank 9 Immortal GU at any time. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable placed great focus on Fang Yuan's refinement path attainment. The contest of three Venerables was neck and neck. If either side gained a rank 9 Immortal GU, their strength would rise immensely. That would no longer be a contest of equal strength, even territories could be lost then. The truth was, even if Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not send a letter, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would have sent one to him. If Fang Yuan was truly given the chance to display his specialty and refine a rank 9 Immortal GU, he would gain the biggest advantage. That was something neither of the two Venerables wanted to see. This secret plan to stop Fang Yuan from refining rank 9 Immortal GU started with the subtle cooperation of the two Venerables. If Fang Yuan takes a risk to refine rank 9 Immortal GU, we will strike. But even if I cooperate with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, I still need to mind my Immortal Essence expenditure. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable understood that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had more Immortal Essence than her, but if she expended too much Immortal Essence when targeting Fang Yuan, even if she spent the same amount as Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, it would not benefit her. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's biggest advantage was in Immortal Essence quantity after all. If that situation occurred, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's advantage would be even bigger then. That was also part of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's secret scheme. Eastern Sea. Oh. Fang Yuan's expression changed slightly. Currently, he was refining Immortal GU while communicating in Treasure Yellow Heaven. He also considered the arrangements and development of his Immortal Aperture with great ease. Now, he had received Hefeng Yang's request for a transaction in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Hefeng Yang is actually asking me for an open transaction. It seems that this is Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's idea. Fang Yuan immediately understood the truth. Without Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's permission, how could Hefeng Yang dare to do this? Worthy of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, Fang Yuan praised. It was a wise and logical countermeasure. The contest of forces and the fight between experts had never been as simple as allies and enemies. But according to the specific situation, one needed to have the flexibility to change sides. Sometimes, your enemies could become your allies, you could even work together with your enemies while simultaneously plotting against them. But this reaction was within Fang Yuan's expectations. Regarding Hefeng Yang's request for a transaction, Fang Yuan's will agreed on the spot. If he rejected this, it would weaken his credibility and reputation. Furthermore, what reason was there to reject it? This was beneficial to Heavenly Court and Central Continent, but it was even more useful for Fang Yuan. After all, he was the seller who set the price. It was natural that Heavenly Court and Central Continent were going to benefit. This was a mutually beneficial transaction where both sides got what they wanted. The losing side was naturally Longevity Heaven. When Fang Yuan and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable become stronger, Longevity Heaven would be left behind. But once Longevity Heaven sees this situation, they would want to catch up. Even if they were unwilling, they would make transactions with Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan would obviously not reject them. By then, he would be the party that benefits the most out of this. Since you want a rank 7 Immortal GU, hand me the 9 Central Stone Forest. Fang Yuan quoted his price to Hefeng Yang. 9 Central Stone Forest was an Earth Path resource point. It could be used as an Earth Vein node. The exact value when compared to a rank 7 Immortal GU was not clear. For the short term, the rank 7 Immortal GU was definitely more valuable. But for the long term, a 9 central stone forest that could continuously produce earth path resources definitely surpassed just one rank 7 immortal GU. This quote was very expensive, far higher than Fang Yuan's earlier price for refining GU. He Feng Yang could not make a decision, but he had Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's orders. On the whole, this price was still in the acceptable range, so he Feng Yang agreed to it. In the future, when Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven transact with me further, I will ask for more Earth Path resource points for fixing Earth veins in my Sovereign Immortal Aperture. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture had already started to prosper and develop. The current plan was to construct a water vein. Since the Righteous Qi Alliance joined Fang Yuan, they had to show their sincerity. Fang Yuan gave orders without holding back. He asked the clans to contribute a batch of water path resource points. I have tens of yellow apricot immortal essence beads now. I cannot take a risk in refining rank 9 immortal GU yet, these immortal essence beads are insufficient. Let's refine those heaven path rank 8 immortal GU first. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2226 Light Fire. Chapter 2226, Light Fire. Southern Border. A group of 5 GU masters were sprinting rapidly on the road. The leader had rank 4 cultivation level, he had an ordinary face but was exceptionally capable. It was Shang Clan's GU master Xiao Yan. Moving Fire GU. He was activating a Fire Path GU worm now to travel. Each step he took, flames would be ignited on the ground, causing a huge trail of fire to burn along his path. Behind him, the 4 GU masters all had rank 2 cultivation level, they were gritting their teeth as they followed him. Lord Xiao Yan, let's rest for a while, we don't have enough primeval essence. While running, a rank 2 GU master suggested. Xiao Yan slowed his speed but he was still running. This was the wilderness, if GU masters did not have sufficient primeval essence, they would face great risks in surviving. A rank 2 GU master was also not qualified to explore the wild, they lacked the capability and strength. But right now, Xiao Yan had a mission to do. According to the information, if I am any later, the fire in the village will be unstoppable. I need to hurry there now. Last time, I was misled by the enemy's information and went out to search for Fire Path GU materials, causing Lady Shang Xinxi to face great danger. This time, I need to work hard and complete this mission to make up for my mistake. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan made up his mind. He ordered, "You 4, go rest, I will head there first. After you are done resting, catch up to me." Yes, the 4 GU masters answered. Xiao Yan's speed rose to its limit, he quickly went into the forest. A few hours later, he arrived at his destination, a small village that was under Shang clan's control. "Lord, you finally came. The village has already prepared some wine." The village head was a rank 4 GU master, he spoke to Xiao Yan politely. But Xiao Yan waved his hand. "The fire is more important, we need to resolve this issue first." The village head was overjoyed. "Lord is wise. Please come with me, to speak the truth, I have been very anxious these days." The village head brought Xiao Yan to the back of the mountain. Xiao Yan saw that in a crevice at the back of the mountain, there was a white dazzling flame burning intensely. "That's right, this is light fire." Xiao Yan stared from afar as his pupils shrank. "This light fire is too big, it covers a range of at least 200 paces, this is beyond my capabilities." Light fire was a type of special fire, it was a rank 5 GU material. From what Xiao Yan knew, this GU material could be used to refine rank 5 light path or fire path GU worms. From the perspective of a GU immortal, the essence was clear. This light fire contained fire path and light path Dao marks. To think that I could not find any special fire earlier no matter how I searched. But once I took this mission, I found such a large area of light fire. Lady Shang Xinxi purposely gave this mission to me, she is simply too kind and merciful. Sigh, this gratitude, Xiao Yan sighed internally, he gradually understood Shang Xinxi's intention. He slowly got closer to the light fire. As the distance shortened, he felt deeper emotions internally, he became angry for no reason. This was not strange, this was the effect of the light fire, the closer one got to this GU material, the angrier they would become. Xiao Yan tried to use fire path methods and quickly kept away a lump of the light fire that was the size of a basin. Xiao Yan nodded internally, his earlier evaluation was right, such a large field of light fire could not be taken by him alone, but he could keep most of it. Afterwards, the 4 rank 2 GU masters would arrive and help him to complete this mission successfully. But they had to be quick. GU materials like light fire would spread and grow rapidly in the day. But now was night time, the light fire's growth was suppressed. This was also the reason why Xiao Yan rushed there at full speed while leaving his subordinates behind. Before they get here, I need to make arrangements in the surroundings in case of enemies. Xiao Yan immediately used his alert methods near the light fire. Guarding against others was a necessity. Furthermore, in order to retrieve this light fire, Xiao Yan had to use his full strength. Why are there still mortals in the surroundings? While surveying the location, Xiao Yan found that there were many mortals praying within the mountain's forest, towards the fire. The village head quickly guaranteed that he would chase these mortals away. For the following period, he would not let these mortals interrupt Xiao Yan and his subordinates. Next, the village head explained the reason. It turned out that because the sky had gotten strange recently without white heaven or black heaven, day and night could no longer be differentiated. Thus, the GU masters of the 5 regions and even mortals were deeply shocked and fearful. On a certain night, fire rain fell from the sky. Lumps of heaven flames landed in the range of 10,000 li around the village. These mortals were shocked by the phenomenon and thought that heaven was angry and punishing these mortals by burning them to death. Thus, they were all kneeling here and praying for forgiveness. Foolish, Xiao Yan snorted coldly, but his expression became milder. He could understand them. When the sky first changed, he was also extremely fearful. But with the information from Shang Shenxi, he learned that even though this was a huge event, it was not dangerous to them. Even if there were danger, it was not something that GU masters at Xiao Yan's level should care about. At the same time, immemorial white heaven, or more accurately, in the fused black and white heavens. A few tens of thousands of li away, Fang Yuan watched the huge sun from afar. The sun seemed to be moving forward slowly, but it was traveling rapidly on a fixed route, going from east to west, before U-turning and going back from west to east, repeating the process endlessly. Whenever the sun went to the extreme east of immemorial white heaven, or the extreme west, 12 hours would pass exactly. With the swap of black heaven and white heaven, the 5 regions would be enveloped by the night sky. And in white heaven that was above black heaven, the sun would go on the return route from west to east, spending 12 hours to reach the starting point. By then, black heaven and white heaven would swap again. Thus, in the view and perception of mortals, the sun had always appeared from the east of white heaven when the night sky fades. When it was dusk, the sun would vanish into the extreme west as the night emerges. The sun was very large. Among the 11 venerables, even spectral soul demon Venerable, who had the largest body that resembled a mountain, was far inferior to the sun. The size of the sun, in Fang Yuan's estimation, was about the size of giant Hero Sea area, and that was one of the largest sea areas in Eastern Sea. Originally, in immemorial white heaven, the sun's travel route had absolutely nothing in its way. But now, with the fusion of both heavens, the environment changed abruptly and chaotically. While Fang Yuan was observing, a large area of black clouds blocked the sun's path. Whenever the sun moved forward by a little, a large portion of the black clouds would dissipate. Of course, the sun was not completely unharmed. From time to time, sparks would fall off the surface of the sun. These heaven flames would land on the black clouds or scatter elsewhere. An even smaller portion of them would land in the 5 regions. From Fang Yuan's perspective, the collision of the black clouds and the sun was like the collision of 2 groups of Tao marks. The former was dark path and cloud path, while the latter was light path and fire path. The black cloud is bound to lose, but the sun's expenditure is also considerable. With such an intense change, it is no wonder that heaven form has turned chaotic, and is also at the brink of breaking apart. Fang Yuan was originally refining heaven path Immortal GU. The reason why he suddenly changed his plans and came up to the 2 heavens of Eastern Sea was because of heaven form. Heaven form was left by thieving heaven demon Venerable. It was considered half a thieving heaven true inheritance. Back then, thieving heaven demon Venerable had encountered a natural heavenly spirit in immemorial white heaven by chance. This natural heavenly spirit could not be brought out of white heaven or placed into one's grotto heaven. It was filled with heaven's will that was constantly replenished at all times. Even thieving heaven demon Venerable could not use his human will to refine it forcefully. After thinking long and hard, he found a solution. He forcefully condensed it and created an immortal killer move, calling it heaven form. The refinement of heaven form needed a long period of time and generations of wills to cleanse. One day, it would be truly refined by a GU immortal. By then, it would be usable. Afterwards, this heaven form killer move was obtained by the heaven surveying 5 Shangs who made the 1,000-year bet, eventually ending up in Fang Yuan's hands. Heaven form was a huge help to Fang Yuan, especially in terms of invading the two heavens grotto heavens, as well as displaying great use during the Fate War. Heaven form was like a one-legged crane that was covered in snow-white feathers which had no dust or dirt. It had a long beak that was red in color. When activating it, it would spread its wings and fly elegantly. When it was inactive, it would shut its eyes and stand on one leg. Its neck would coil up on its back as it rested silently. Heaven form had been kept in immemorial white heaven all along. Fang Yuan could not take it away. Because its foundation was in immemorial white heaven. Now that immemorial white heaven and black heaven were fusing, heaven form's foundation was affected. Fang Yuan had to help it in time and stabilize its form, otherwise, without external aid, it would be destroyed. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2227 Fang Yuan's Loving Consolation. Chapter 2227, Fang Yuan's Loving Consolation. The white crane-like heaven form cried out in front of Fang Yuan. It was in great pain, its body twisted and curled up at times. Fang Yuan's fingers were spread like blooming flowers as he activated his refinement path killer move. Traces of green and fragrant wind moved around the white crane-like chains coiling on its body, stabilizing its form. Heaven form was originally declining in condition, but after using this method, its collapse was slowing down. But that was not enough. The white crane continued to cry out. "Don't worry, I am around, I will protect you." Fang Yuan continued to console it. This was a killer move from an information path GU Immortal, because it was special and had refinement path effect. Langya land spirit kept a copy of it. After Fang Yuan's modification, he abandoned the original name and called it Loving Consolation. It seemed like information path but was actually a refinement path method. After returning to its roots, the effect was greatly elevated. This move could allow the GU Immortal to use words of consolation on an incomplete Immortal GU to affect the refinement process. For example, if on the brink of failure, Fang Yuan consoled it repeated as such. "I know you can do it. Work hard. You can definitely succeed. Believe in yourself." If these words of consolation reached the incomplete Immortal GU that was about to break apart, its condition would stop worsening. It could even recover and succeed in refinement in the end. However, this move had certain restrictions. Firstly, the effect was continuous. Each sentence had little effect on the process. Only through an accumulation of non-stop speech could there be an evident effect. Thus, during refinement, if there was a sudden accident and this move was not used in time, or maybe the effect of this move could not catch up with the speed of deterioration, then the refinement process could not be salvaged. Secondly, this move could only be used on an incomplete Immortal GU. That was to say, the refinement must reach a certain stage before this could be used. Otherwise, without an incomplete Immortal GU formed, this move could not even be used. Many GU recipes refined Immortal GU immediately. There was no intermediate step of forming an incomplete Immortal GU first, thus, this could not be used in such situations. But Fang Yuan could use it now. Because this situation was a little special. Heaven form was originally intact, but with the fusion of black heaven and white heaven, it suffered major injuries and could be treated as an incomplete Immortal GU. Of course, the basis was that Fang Yuan was a refinement path Venerable and had the attainment level and methods to treat the rank 9 killer move, heaven form, as a GU worm undergoing refinement. "Don't worry, with me around, you can rest assured." Fang Yuan continued to speak gently. But heaven form's cries were getting louder. Suddenly, heaven form's snow-white feathers started to blaze up. It was originally an ember but the fire soon grew after a few breaths of time, becoming the size of a human palm. Fang Yuan immediately took action, breathing in deeply and activating his killer move as two lumps of qi that were white and blue respectively blew out of his nose. The two breaths first landed on the feathers and extinguished the flames before turning into frost and preventing the fire from starting again. Thankfully, I used this refinement path killer move before. I am considerably familiar with it. Fang Yuan was glad internally. If not for that, he would not be able to handle it in time. The larger the fire, the greater the cost Fang Yuan would have to bear when he dealt with it. If the fire spread throughout heaven form's body, then this killer move would be destroyed. Even Fang Yuan could not save it then. "You must pull through, your master believes in you," Fang Yuan said lovingly. The white crane's cries became louder and sharper. "What's going on?" Bright light shined in Fang Yuan's eyes. Soon, he realized the problem. A wave of black poisonous liquid appeared in the white crane's body and started spreading rapidly, corroding everything and causing the killer move to be nearly destroyed internally. The white crane vomited intensely as black liquid came out of its mouth. Fang Yuan grunted and knew that he could not use a fire refinement method, otherwise, it would trigger the previous fire. Thus, he pointed. Instantly, 100 green light specks flew into the white crane's mouth like a swarm of insects. The green light spread around the poisonous liquid and grew rapidly. Stalks of green grass grew rapidly, absorbing all of the poison in the white crane's body. Fang Yuan flicked his finger again as golden light flowed like water, entering the white crane's body and cutting all the grass away. Powder also entered the white crane's body and helped to heal it at this time. Everything will be over soon, there is light at the end of the tunnel, don't give up. Fang Yuan encouraged it again. But the white crane screeched intensely, its body started to twitch like it was shocked by lightning. Next, its long and elegant body started to inflate like a balloon, it got larger and larger, seemingly reaching its limit and about to explode. Fang Yuan quickly stretched out his hand and grabbed with 5 fingers as a huge rod appeared in his palm. Just one refinement path killer move is not enough. Fang Yuan's thoughts flashed rapidly like sparks in his mind, he manipulated the GU worms in his immortal aperture and prepared another killer move. At the next moment, sharp icy spikes appeared on the huge rod. Boom! Fang Yuan exerted strength into his arm and slammed down on the white crane's body. It immediately cried out in pain and looked at its master in utter disbelief. But Fang Yuan was still smiling gently, you must believe in master, believe in yourself too. Boom! Fang Yuan waved the rod and slammed down again, the white crane's inflated body was forcefully deflated, powerful air currents gushed out of the holes on its body that were left by the spikes. Boom! Fang Yuan smiled gently, white crane, be good, work harder. Boom! Fang Yuan smiled sincerely, white crane, you are so cute, persevere on, we will succeed eventually. Boom boom! Fang Yuan smiled mercifully, no matter what you experience, don't ever give up. With me around, I won't let you die. The huge rod slammed down once more, while the white crane had already broken down mentally. Boom! After a loud impact, it nearly fainted. There were no movements anymore. However, its body returned to the original size, it no longer was inflated but was covered in injuries, it was barely still alive, no longer displaying the power of a rank 9 killer move. Fang Yuan stored away the huge rod with icy spikes. He nodded in satisfaction and muttered to himself, although it is my first time trying these 2 moves together, my refinement path Venerable intuition is not wrong, there are no mistakes at all. The effect is just as strong as I expected. This move is not like loving consolation, it has wide usage, I can practice it more in the future. Next time, if such a situation happens, I will use this again. As if the crane heard Fang Yuan's words, its corpse shook intensely and its mouth was tightly shut. With the fusion of white heaven and black heaven, heaven form fell into a deep predicament, Fang Yuan had to guard it at all times and use refinement path killer moves to stabilize it whenever an issue occurred. The difficulty is not high now, but the future is uncertain. By guarding heaven form, I am also restricted greatly, the more I try to save it, the more immortal essence I will waste. Fang Yuan did not have much immortal essence to begin with, this made the problem even worse. But I cannot abandon heaven form. Fang Yuan had to preserve this killer move, from his luck inspection through cooking luck pot earlier, Fang Yuan analyzed and found that heaven path was his best choice in getting past his current predicament. Like now, while guarding heaven form, he was also refining other heaven path immortal GU in the sovereign immortal aperture. A new heaven path immortal GU was refined. This heaven path immortal GU looked like a crystal spider, it was clear and transparent with no flaws on the body. The spider's 8 legs were slim and long, its body was also small and raised high by the 8 legs. Rank 8 heaven path immortal GU, Heavenly Web. This GU was the core of the heaven path killer move, Heavenly Web Protection Veil. Back then in Crazed Demon Cave, Paradise Earth used it multiple times, it had outstanding defensive properties, it was definitely on par with Fang Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. After Fang Yuan killed Paradise Earth, he found that there were only 2 Heaven Path Immortal GU in his immortal aperture. One was Heavenly Web GU, the other was Heavenly Birth GU. Heavenly Birth GU was used by Paradise Earth to revive, it was also his core immortal GU when converting from Earth Path to Heaven Path. There were also many other immortal GU. Like Information Path Immortal GU Summary, it could allow a GU Immortal to deduce the general summary of a complicated information. Or for example, Rule Path Immortal GU Normal, it could allow the target to recover to their normal condition. By using these Immortal GU, Paradise Earth formed many Heaven Path killer moves like Heavenly Web Protection Veil, Emotionless Heaven and Earth, Heavenly Summary Earthly Norm, and others. These Immortal GU were all destroyed by Paradise Earth's will before his death. Currently, Heavenly Web GU was refined, Fang Yuan had to refine Heavenly Birth GU next. Heavenly Birth GU could heal Immortal GU. When used with Fang Yuan's refinement path killer moves, it could have an effect on Heaven form. Fang Yuan had his own Heaven path accumulation before this, rank 8 Heavenly Secret GU, Heaven's Envy GU, and the Heaven Envy's Heroic Geniuses killer move that he used in Crazed Demon Cave, as well as the Heaven form that he was saving now. After making huge gains from looting Paradise Earth, Fang Yuan gained a large increase in Heaven Path Foundation. Especially in Paradise Earth's Heaven Path research results, there is a method called Obscured Heavenly Secret that can use the power of Heaven Path to conceal oneself. It is very useful to me. Fang Yuan's greatest objective was the killer move Obscured Heavenly Secret. After that, it was to refine Heavenly Birth GU and stabilize Heaven form. Obscured Heavenly Secret could be modified. In theory, the more Heaven Path Immortal GU used in the move, the greater the concealment effect. Fang Yuan had to resolve his predicament of insufficient immortal essence. He had two choices right now. One was to develop his immortal aperture. But accelerating the time in Sovereign Immortal Aperture was not a good idea. Fang Yuan could only expand his Great Love GU refinement plan and try to get more resource points added into his immortal aperture to raise his immortal aperture origin core and produce more immortal essence. The other solution was to advance Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Rank 8 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was extremely helpful to Fang Yuan. Without it, Fang Yuan would have run out of immortal essence in Crazed Demon Cave. It had such an incredible effect, whoever used it would understand why it was Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's vital GU. Fang Yuan was now a rank 9 Venerable, rank 8 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was not suitable for him. If he advanced it, rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus would definitely allow Fang Yuan to break out of this predicament. However, if he tried to advance it now, the information would no doubt be exposed. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable were watching him closely. Fang Yuan knew this clearly. He was now rank 9, rank 8 Cooking Luckpot could only barely help him. When he tries to refine rank 9 Immortal GU, his luck would fluctuate immensely. Against Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, Cooking Luckpot would not conceal the luck entirely. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was a Wisdom Path Venerable. It was even harder to conceal the information from her. The moment I refine my rank 9 GU is also my weakest moment. The two of them will definitely cooperate to attack me. Thus, this Obscured Heavenly Secret killer move is the crucial factor. Cooking Luckpot could not deceive Giant Sun Immortal Venerable because it was Luck Path. But Obscured Heavenly Secret was Heaven Path. It was like how Fang Yuan had little countermeasures against Pill Path and Painting Path. Against Heaven Path, even Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would be helpless. But this method has a hidden threat. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had assimilated with the Tao 3 million years ago, while Heavenly Court has an immense foundation in Heaven Path research results. How long can Obscured Heavenly Secret conceal the truth from her? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2228. Chapter 2228. Control of Immortal Essence Stones. Central Continent. 3 rank 6 GU Immortals were surrounding an ancient cloud beast and attacking it. Be careful. The ancient cloud beast suddenly transformed and raised its speed, attacking the woman among the 3 immortals. The female immortal was not fazed. Her white blouse moved like a blooming flower, a vague silhouette blocking the cloud beast's attack. But this ancient cloud beast also attacked more fiercely. Even though it was blocked, it did not retreat. Instead, it changed its form and enveloped the female immortal entirely. From outside, it looked like the ancient cloud beast had devoured the female immortal. Fairy Lian Yun, Shi Zhengyi shouted and wanted to activate an information path killer move anxiously. But beside him, Yu Yizi stopped his action. Wait. If you use this move and pierce the cloud beast, what if you injure Fairy Lian Yun? Shi Zhengyi stopped and gritted his teeth. Then what do we do? Yu Yizi, who had the appearance of a young man, showed a solemn expression. In this situation, I can only try to use that move. What move? Shi Zhengyi felt that it was too dangerous. Don't tell me you are not familiar with it yet. But Yu Yizi had already started preparing the move. Sensing the aura of the killer move, the cloud beast enveloped Zhao Lian Yun and rushed towards them. Shi Zhengyi immediately used his method to try to stall the ancient cloud beast. He opened his mouth wide and his tongue could be seen. The information path killer move activated as Shi Zhengyi spoke rapidly without stopping. The power of words affected the ancient cloud beast's body as a formless power accumulated and stalled its movement. After more than 10 breaths of time, Shi Zhengyi finally heard Yu Yiyi's voice. He deactivated his killer move with joy and dodged to the side. Yu Yiyi's palms aimed at the ancient cloud beast as two beams of light shot out of them. The beams were pale blue. After landing on the ancient cloud beast, they started to dissolve. Zhao Lianyun, who was trapped inside the cloud beast, struggled intensely. She put in more effort and finally broke free from it, regaining freedom. Alright, my turn. Shi Zhengyi saw that Zhao Lianyun had escaped and quickly made his move, cooperating with Yu Yiyi and using an offensive killer move. Two killer moves landed on the ancient cloud beast. With a loud sound, this ancient cloud beast exploded on the spot. The ancient cloud beast's corpse turned into lumps of clouds. Most were immortal materials. After Zhao Lianyun and the rest collected the materials, they rested on the spot. It was my fault. I got trapped by the cloud beast and caused our immortal materials to not be high in quality. Zhao Lianyun apologized. This loss is nothing. We only have rank 6 cultivation level but fought against an ancient cloud beast. Winning is already a huge achievement. We cannot ask for more. Yu Yiyi consoled. Shi Zhengyi talked loudly. Ever since the Battle of Reverse Flow River, we have not been able to meet up often. While the two heavens are fusing together, with beast groups escaping from the two heavens to central continent, we are able to meet again to stop the calamity. Why bother fussing over the small details? The friendship of the three immortals was built up during the Reverse Flow River battle. Even though Fang Yuan was the biggest winner in that battle, the three of them had performed very well in the battle. They were saved by Wei Lingyang, who risked his life, and they managed to hair-raisingly escape with their lives under the reinforcements of Central Continent later. After they returned to their sect, they received a lot of nurturing. Zhao Lianyun smiled and said after Shi Zhengyi, since we do not mind the small details, I would like Shi to accept this gift. Saying so, Shi landed an information path immortal material to Shi Zhengyi. Shi Zhengyi was very happy. Wait, this is trash talk petal flower. This is an immortal material that I need to refine my immortal GU. He did not stand on ceremony. He took this rank 6 immortal material and inspected it carefully. Zhao Lianyun turned to Yu Yiyi and smiled as she handed him a refinement path GU immortal true inheritance. I got it. Yu Yiyi was very happy. The refinement path inheritance I cultivate is called 8 refinement gates. To think that the rumors are true, a certain generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House actually created the 9th gate on the foundation of this inheritance. Fairy Lianyun, how can I repay you? Zhao Lianyun shook her head and smiled. This is something within my abilities, it is also your good luck. Thankfully, I am the current generation fairy, otherwise, I cannot have such authority to take the true inheritance. As for thanking me, of course I need something too. Zhao Lianyun said in a casual tone like she was joking. When you become rank 7 or 8 GU immortals, try to take care of me. Shi Zhengyi and Yu Yiyi's expressions turned slightly dim. They knew about Zhao Lianyun's situation. Zhao Lianyun had Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable's rank 9 killer move Divine Concealment. She was unable to undergo tribulations so her cultivation level could not advance. In contrast, Shi Zhengyi and Yu Yiyi's cultivation levels had increased significantly since the Battle of Reverse Flow River. Shi Zhengyi gritted his teeth and said, to speak the truth, I have been trying to find a way for you to break through this limitation. GU immortals go through tribulations because of the heavenly Tao's balancing. Heavens will manipulate calamities and tribulations to form. Fairy, you cannot undergo tribulations because divine concealment hides you from heaven's will. The solution is simple, you just need to unravel divine concealment. Divine concealment is a rank 9 killer move. The difficulty of breaking this killer move is too high. But with the reign of 3 venerables now, breaking a rank 9 killer move is not impossible. But destroying the killer move is too wasteful. I think, maybe you can find Lady Star Constellation Immortal Venerable to help. She is a wisdom path venerable, I am sure she has a solution. Zhao Lianyun smiled bitterly. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable is high and mighty, how can someone like myself even get to meet her? Fairy Lianyun, do not look down on yourself. The fact that you own rank 9 Love Immortal GU means that you will not be ignored. Yu Yiyi urged, but to get Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's help, according to the rules of the 10 great ancient sects and Heavenly Court, you will need to pay a huge amount of contribution points. But now, you used your contribution points to exchange for this true inheritance that you gave me, thus I hope you will take all these Cloud Beast immortal materials. Shi Zhengyi laughed heartily. Then I will do the same, this is just a small token of my gratitude. Zhao Lianyun immediately shook her head. I understand your concern. If I bring back these cloud beast corpses and hand them over, I will get more contribution points than what I spent for the true inheritance. Even so, the amount that I lack to get Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's help is still too much. It is better to invest in you two first and raise your strength to rank 7 or 8 before you come back and help me, wouldn't that be more efficient? Zhao Lianyun made a lot of sense. After listening to her, Shi Zhengyi and Yu Yizi decided to keep the cloud beast corpses. Even so, Fairy Lianyun, please accept these immortal essence stones. Yeah, in the following fights, a lot of immortal essence will be expended. At the crucial moment, you can replenish it using immortal essence stones to deal with dangerous situations. Shi Zhengyi and Yu Yizi spoke again. This time, Zhao Lianyun did not reject them. She took both of their immortal essence stones. I do not have many immortal essence stones indeed. In fact, the sect is rarely giving out immortal essence stones now. Do you know what's going on? Zhao Lianyun asked. Yu Yizi and Shi Zhengyi shook their heads. They were in the same situation. Shi Zhengyi was an information path cultivator after all. He had heard some vague rumors. The 10 great ancient sects are all lower sects of Heavenly Court. All of our immortal essence stones are distributed by them. Ever since the Fate War, Heavenly Court has started to reduce the amount of immortal essence stones distributed. By now, they have basically stopped giving out any immortal essence stones. The 10 great ancient sects have their own immortal essence stone storage, but to save for the future, they also stopped handing them out. Yu Yizi also said, recently, when transacting refinement path immortal materials in Treasure Yellow Heaven, I also noticed this. There are increased transactions in Treasure Yellow Heaven, but most of them are done through resource trading. The circulation of immortal essence stones has dwindled. Is Heavenly Court trying to influence the 5 regions GU Immortal World through immortal essence stones? Zhao Lianyun's eyes shined with bright light. All along, the immortal essence stones in the market of the 5 regions and 2 heavens were from Heavenly Court. If Heavenly Court had control of the source, their influence would be huge. The group that was most heavily affected were the rank 6 GU Immortals, and they also had the largest number in the GU Immortal world. As one's cultivation level rose to become rank 7 or 8, their dependence on immortal essence stones would fall. And this was very inconvenient for Zhao Lianyun. There were mainly 2 aspects. Firstly, having the transactions in Treasure Yellow Heaven was inconvenient. Secondly, once Zhao Lianyun had little immortal essence, she would not be able to replenish it quickly without immortal essence stones. Don't tell me that Heavenly Court is trying to reduce the number of transactions among the GU Immortals of the 5 regions so that they can prevent the lower ranked GU Immortals from fighting in advance. Zhao Lianyun thought to herself. The phenomenon of reducing immortal essence stones became noticed by more GU Immortals. Because there was only one source, which was Heavenly Court, other forces could not do anything about it. During normal times, immortal essence stones were used as currency for GU Immortals to trade, but during war times, they were important tactical resources as GU Immortals could replenish immortal essence with them. After realizing this phenomenon, the various forces of the 5 regions started to buy immortal essence stones and stock up on them. This made the supply of immortal essence stones became even lower than before. Naturally, Fang Yuan had noticed this himself. Heavenly Court is trying to weaken the strength of the other forces before war erupts, while raising the value of their own immortal essence stones. He was very interested in the secret behind Heavenly Court's immortal essence stones. Be it Shadow Sect's true inheritance, or Paradise Earth's true inheritance, he had not found any clues. Even during the Fate War when Fang Yuan attacked Heavenly Court and destroyed the immortal graveyard, he did not find out the secret of the immortal essence stones. Heavenly Court limited the flow of immortal essence stones. It caused a huge headache to countless forces and GU Immortals, but for Fang Yuan, the problem was small. One immortal essence stone was equivalent to 1 green grape immortal essence bead. Each of Fang Yuan's yellow apricot immortal essence beads were worth 1,000,000 immortal essence stones. Several days had passed since Fang Yuan arrived in the immemorial heavens and stabilized heaven form. Let's start. He let out a breath of air and started to prepare an immortal killer move. Heaven Path Killer Move. Obscured Heavenly Secret. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2229 Giant Sun's Attack. Chapter 2229 Giant Sun's Attack. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Mini Eastern Sea. Jade green water flowed like a large dragon, moving rapidly on the surface of the sea. Several rank 6 GU Immortals were chasing and trying to stop it. Quick, the water is flowing towards you. Watch this. Boom! The water flow rippled, a huge wave of over 100 feet rose. I blocked it, but be careful, 2 rank 6 GU Immortals were engulfed by the wave instantly. Damn it, the remaining GU Immortals used their methods to desperately stop it. In the end, the jade green water flow did not manage to escape the sea area. Once time was up, white light surrounded 10 li of the sea surface. He Chun-Chu appeared and shouted, grabbed the air with his hands. Immediately, the surface of the sea rippled and surged with waves. After more than 10 breaths of time, a water path formation was built on it. This water path formation had a rank 7 water path immortal GU as the core. The main formation had already expended a batch of water path immortal materials. As the jade water flowed into the water path formation, it turned into a spiral whirlpool that moved on its own, emitting splashing sounds. The rank 6 GU Immortals here flew into the sky. After seeing this, they cheered uncontrollably. He Chun-Chu inspected the formation again and ensured there were no issues before he also let out a breath of air. At this point, the jade green water flow resource point had been placed here. Jade green water flow was a rank 7 immortal material. It had a very famous trait in that it would always be moving without ever stopping. After Fang Yuan created the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance and took in the Righteous Chi Alliance, he extorted Eastern Sea's Righteous Path for a batch of water path resource points. This jade green water flow was one of them. He Chun-Chu was in charge of placing this jade green water flow here. He made an immortal formation and ordered the rank 6 GU Immortals to trap this jade green water flow, preventing it from escaping elsewhere. After several days of effort, it was finally completed. From this day on, the resource point would not only produce jade green water flow, it would also be one of the water vein nodes. With further development in the future, this might form into a jade green water flow sea area. Divine Rift Whirlpool, 7 Treasures Sea Spring, Underwater 1000-Year Profound Ice Island, Cleansing Water Region, Rolling Pearl Water Treasury. These last few days, Mini Eastern Sea gained more than 10 water vein nodes, only 3 more are needed before we can form one water vein ring. While He Chun-Chu was thinking, one of the rank 6 GU Immortals asked politely, Master, I wonder what other instructions there are. He Chun-Chu waved his hand at them. A time path killer move was immediately activated, their wounds healed at once. You may go back, He Chun-Chu said. The GU Immortals left after expressing their gratitude. They were very busy and needed to go around the place to resolve problems and stabilize the environment of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. The number of missions in Star Collection Hall was innumerable. While watching them leave, He Chun-Chu sighed to himself. After the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, the Sovereign Immortal Aperture faced 2 main problems. The first problem was that strange phenomena were still occurring commonly. The Sovereign Immortal Body's non-conflicting Tao marks was the root cause. The more Tao marks there were, the greater the problem. After Fang Yuan became venerable by passing the mini-chaotic disaster, he gained a huge number of refinement path Tao marks. At the same time, he had been building resource points recently. They were also made of Tao marks. The second problem was that the Sovereign Immortal Aperture lacked manpower. During the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, he lost about 50 GU Immortals. A portion of them had died in the mini-chaotic disaster. They could not be revived. Among which, there was the Combat Beast King. Most of the rest revived. They were all GU Masters now. The current situation was quite peculiar. These people could not quickly ascend to Immortal yet. Thus, even throughout the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, the strongest people were He Chun-Chu, Wu Shuai, Lady White Rabbit, Fairy Miao Yin, and the other rank 8 GU Immortals. Establishing resource points and setting up formations, these were tasks that only He Chun-Chu and Wu Shuai could do. Although they did not cultivate formation path, they were still Fang Yuan's clones and shared his attainment levels. Other people simply could not do it. He Chun-Chu had already entered the liver life formation multiple times recently. He had no time to rest at all. Maybe, I should ask the main body to give orders and deploy a portion of the Merman Imperial Court's Merfolk GU Immortals to help us. He Chun-Chu thought to himself. Compared to the humans, the variant humans were more reliant on Fang Yuan. They were less likely to betray him. At the same time, Mini Eastern Sea did need to relocate and move in a number of merfolk as well. Compared to the other 4 mini regions, Mini Eastern Sea only had hairy men on the 3 major continents. Although the population was not small, other areas had no variant humans at all. They were too empty. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture was developed and managed by the clones and subordinates, while Fang Yuan's main body focused on guarding heaven form. Boom boom boom. Fang Yuan's huge rod continued to slam on it. This time, there were no ice spikes on the rod, it was burning in flames instead. Heaven form was gritting its teeth. not daring to emit any cries as it curled up into a ball. The frost that appeared on its body out of nowhere was smashed by the rod before being melted by the flames. As the black and white heavens became fused to a greater extent, Heaven Form's condition was getting more unstable. But Fang Yuan was still quite relaxed. While stabilizing Heaven Form, he also activated Obscured Heavenly Secret repeatedly to practice it and gain more insight about the move. The Obscured Heavenly Secret killer move that he used now was the version that Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable had. Paradise Earth did not have Heavenly Secret Immortal GU, thus he used Heavenly Web GU as the core with a large amount of Heaven Path Immortal materials. After these Heaven Path Immortal materials were used, Fang Yuan's body became covered in a new layer of Heaven Path Dao marks, resembling a fishing net. Whenever anyone made deductions or tried to investigate Fang Yuan, this layer of the fishing net made from the Heaven Path Dao marks would rapidly change form, the lines would contract and twist rapidly, distorting everything from the original state. Thus, Obscured Heavenly Secret's true effect is not to conceal myself from all deductions, but to perfectly mislead them and cause them to arrive at a wrong result. Fang Yuan had already recognized the essence of this move. Once the fishing net's Heaven Path Dao marks are depleted, this Obscured Heavenly Secret would lose all effect. Conversely, the more Heaven Path Immortal materials I consume, the more Heaven Path Dao marks would be used to construct this fishing net, which would cause this Obscured Heavenly Secret killer move to become even stronger and long-lasting. Because of this, Fang Yuan saw hope of deceiving the two Venerables. Theoretically, as long as he had enough Heaven Path Dao marks, he would be able to prevent the two Venerables from finding out that he was refining Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Right now, Fang Yuan had more than 100 yellow apricot immortal essence beads. Once he reached the minimum requirement, he would start refining GU. Fang Yuan was anxious to refine Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus because he knew that now was the best time to do it. The battle in Crazed Demon Cave had just ended, the three Venerables' methods were all exposed, while they could not modify their methods yet. Thus, in a fight, Fang Yuan had a greater advantage. After all, he had more Dao marks than Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. If he missed this chance, once the two Venerables modified their methods, the result of their fight would be uncertain. Immortal Essence stockpile is my weakness. If I do not use this chance to fix this flaw, in our standoff in the future, my Immortal Essence reserves will always be below the two of them, I will always be restricted by this. Fang Yuan knew he had to take risks. Longevity Heaven. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable suddenly shouted, his eyes widened, his gaze pierced through Longevity Heaven and cast down on all 5 regions. Good, with the amplification of Longevity Heaven's luck path Dao marks, I can see all the luck of the lifeforms in the 5 regions. Heavenly Court first looked at Heavenly Court. After a while, he turned to Eastern Sea but could not find Fang Yuan. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was shocked, he quickly searched and found a type of luck in the mixed black and white heaven. This luck was burning like a furnace, there were cracks on the surface and little firewood at the bottom, there was an immortal crane that resembled a cloud or mist within it, burning slowly in turmoil. Heaven Form. Instantly, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's eyes burst out with bright light. He laughed heartily as he understood Fang Yuan's current condition. This Heaven Form killer move is left by Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable, it was used by Fang Yuan during the Fate War to invade Heavenly Court. With the fusion of both heavens, Heaven Form's foundation is unstable, it needs Fang Yuan's protection. This rank 9 killer move is extraordinary, with Fang Yuan restricted by it, now is the time for me to strike. During the Fate War, Fang Yuan exposed Heaven Form. Longevity Heaven had cooperated with him multiple times, thus, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable knew about this information. After seeing this, the Northern Plains Immortal Venerable set off to Eastern Sea, he moved quickly and resolutely, without a moment of hesitation. In the mixed black and white heaven, Fang Yuan sighed while smiling slightly. He had sensed Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's investigation earlier, he purposely dispelled Obscured Heavenly Secret to test it out, the result was that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable moved out to attack him. Since Giant Sun is coming, what about Star Constellation? A dark light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2230 Star Constellations Attack. Chapter 2230, Star Constellations Attack. Eastern Sea. Deep within ICC area. In the pitch-black bottom of the sea, a huge ice mountain filled the vision of 2 Su Clan GU Immortals. These 2 Su Clan Immortals had rank 7 cultivation level, one was Su Chen, he was specialized in healing methods. The other was Su Mingwan, he cultivated Dark Path. The two GU Immortals were traveling within a rank 7 Immortal GU house. This Immortal GU house was called Moving Frame Pavilion. It was a rarely seen strength path Immortal GU house. The body of the house was like a pavilion, with 8 big thick blue gold pillars supporting the pavilion roof and pressing down on the pedestal. The blue gold pillars were not straight, but bent with an obvious curvature. The two ends were inwardly curved and the middle section expanded outwardly. On the whole, the entire Moving Frame Pavilion looked like a huge bird cage with the two Su Clan GU Immortals inside it. The Moving Frame Pavilion emitted a layer of dark blue light, blocking the sea water that was outside it. Even so, a cold chill still permeated the place. After facing the icy mountain for some time, the eyebrows and hair of the Su Clan GU Immortals were covered in frost. So cold. This ice mountain is made from thousand-year profound ice. Moving Frame Pavilion does not have enough defense against it. We need to act quickly. Su Clan's GU Immortals conversed while activating Moving Frame Pavilion together, unleashing a strength path method. Instantly, there was a loud sound as a corner of the thousand-year profound ice mountain was cracked by a formless force and floated towards the two Su Clan Immortals. After reaching a certain distance, Su Chen immediately took action to move this thousand-year profound ice into his immortal aperture. Boom boom boom. Moving Frame Pavilion continued to exert strength as pieces of the thousand-year profound ice mountain were moved into their immortal apertures gradually. But good times did not last long. The surrounding ice-poisoned starfish were alarmed by them and quickly approached aggressively. Su Clan's two immortals tensed up immediately. I will lure them away, you should take as much as you can. Su Chen immediately flew out of Moving Frame Pavilion. In this deep sea, even though he was a rank 7 GU Immortal, trying to lure away the ice-poisoned starfish group was still a risky thing to do. Su Mingwan, who was left in Moving Frame Pavilion, was not safe from danger either. Who knew what would happen next? It was not easy to retrieve the thousand-year profound ice, even for a super force like Su Clan, which sent two rank 7 GU Immortals along with an Immortal GU house that could rival rank 8 GU Immortals. It was still full of danger. But there was nothing else Su Clan could do. As an Eastern Sea Righteous Path super force, after joining the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance, they were extorted by Fang Yuan and had to contribute water path resources. Fang Yuan's requirement towards the water path resources was very high. He needed them to be usable as the water vein nodes. Naturally, Su Clan did not lack such resource points, but they did not want to give up their personal wealth. Coincidentally, Su Clan was situated close to icy sea area. Deep within this sea area, there were abundant ice and snow immortal materials. Thus, they planned to collect the profound ice here and hand it to Fang Yuan to satisfy his request. Quick, be quicker. Su Mingwan raised his speed to the limit, but he still had insufficient thousand-year profound ice. There was no helping it. Without Su Chen, his efficiency plummeted. And worse was that a shark group in the sea got disturbed by them. They swam towards Moving Frame Pavilion. Sigh, we have no choice but to retreat. Su Mingwan sighed deeply, feeling helpless inside. He had only found this underwater thousand-year profound ice mountain after much trouble, but after this excavation, the environment would be greatly affected, causing a chain of reactions to occur. The stable ecology would instantly become chaotic. The beast groups here would start fighting against each other. Even if they did not fight, they would be wary against each other. If any commotion occurs, they would attack together, and more terrifying, a beast tide might occur. For the following period, trying to excavate thousand-year profound ice here would have much greater risks. Su Mingwan and Su Chen's best choice was to leave and find other suitable targets next. But right when Su Mingwan was about to leave, there was a surging aura above the sea. Su Mingwan's expression changed intensely. This aura was grand and imposing, it was mighty and unstoppable. All of the sharks that were swimming were intimidated, they escaped in panic. Su Mingwan's expression was filled with shock. This is a Venerable's aura. At the previous moment, he felt that a huge sun had flown above his head, across the sea area. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, he is attacking Eastern Sea. Su Mingwan was flustered and panicked. He quickly informed Su Chen about this. Su Chen was not far away, he was also stunned at the moment. Quick, tell First Supreme Elder about this. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable seems to be moving towards our Su Clan. Su Chen could not help but shout in fear. Are the two Venerables' battle going to take place in our Su Clan's territory? Su Mingwan was shocked by this guess. His face was as pale as white paper. However, contrary to their guesses, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not move straight ahead. His speed fell quickly as he stopped above icy sea area. Next, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's rank 9 aura spread out in an unrestrained manner, showing his grand and domineering attitude. The entire sky rippled with golden light. The golden light spread rapidly to the sky and sea, expanding in all directions. Sensing the terrifying aura of the Venerable, almost all the underwater lifeforms escaped in panic. Thanks to this, the two immortals' predicament was resolved. But they were not happy about it. Instead, they started to guess, what is Giant Sun Immortal Venerable trying to do? Oh, Giant Sun stopped at ICC area. In the immemorial two heavens, Fang Yuan quickly sensed this situation. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not conceal his traces at all. It was like he was trying to tell Fang Yuan openly, I have arrived. Immemorial two heavens. So his plan is to stop above ICC area after all. Fang Yuan had a calm expression. After the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable recovered to some extent, but his battle strength would not have risen by much. After leaving Longevity Heaven, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's Dao marks would be far inferior than Fang Yuan. Thus, for Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, even if he saw Fang Yuan's situation, attacking him abruptly would not have any benefits, only Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would gain from this. It was very wise that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable chose to enter Eastern Sea. He was currently refining Eastern Sea's natural luck path Dao marks. Once he refines all of Eastern Sea's luck path Dao marks, then Giant Sun Immortal Venerable would have a territorial advantage when fighting in Eastern Sea. Even if he was not in Eastern Sea, he could activate killer move from northern plains that would be effective in Eastern Sea. One could say that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was planting a tower in Fang Yuan's base camp. It could inspect Eastern Sea's situation during normal times, and in battle, the activation of luck path Dao marks would allow him to launch attacks on the entire Eastern Sea. Fang Yuan could not do much to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. He could not leave, unless he abandoned heaven form to return to Eastern Sea and face him. But in that case, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable only had to retreat and leave, while Fang Yuan would lose a rank 9 killer move. If Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not retreat and fought against Fang Yuan in attrition, Fang Yuan's immortal essence reserves would dwindle further. In the event they fought, although Giant Sun Immortal Venerable would be at a disadvantage, he would not be killed so easily. Fang Yuan had expected this to happen. Long ago, when the heaven vein of the immemorial two heavens started to fuse, Fang Yuan had already deduced the crisis of heaven form. This problem occurred after the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. From Fang Yuan's perspective, this situation was already very good. The collapse of heaven form was a problem. Fang Yuan needed to try to resolve it while using the chance to create an opportunity to refine Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. He did not have enough immortal essence now, it was not time to advance the GU, thus, he could also not expose obscured heavenly secret yet. When Giant Sun Immortal Venerable checked on Fang Yuan, he immediately retracted this move. For a person like Fang Yuan, his own weaknesses and flaws were things he could exploit to use against his enemies. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was already influenced by him. Next, it was Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's turn. Heavenly Court. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's beautiful eyes looked at Eastern Sea. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, she muttered. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable chose to stay in ICC area. It was really an amazing choice on his part. ICC area was at the westernmost part of Eastern Sea, it was closest to Central Continent. By refining the luck path Dao marks of Eastern Sea, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was also trying to threaten Central Continent. After sensing Fang Yuan's issue, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable made a move. But he did not fight against Fang Yuan. This shows that his battle strength has not risen much, and he is also guarding against me. Thoughts collided rapidly in Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's mind. If there were only Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Heaven Refining Demon Venerable in existence, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable would definitely fight his way to the immemorial two heavens now and attack Fang Yuan. After all, he had abundant immortal essence. Even though Fang Yuan had higher battle strength, he could not kill Giant Sun. A battle of attrition was very beneficial to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. After the battle, Fang Yuan's immortal essence reserves would shrink. He would not be able to utilize his advantage as a refinement path Venerable. Even rank 9 killer move heaven form would be affected and might get destroyed. But with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable around, the situation was different. If Giant Sun Immortal Venerable pitted himself against Fang Yuan, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would benefit the most. From this point, it could be seen that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was helping Fang Yuan. Heaven form. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable squinted slightly. This rank 9 killer move could not be allowed to exist. During the Fate War, this was the killer move that allowed Fang Yuan to break into Heavenly Court. As long as Heaven form existed, Fang Yuan could break into any grotto heaven in the immemorial two heavens. This was a huge threat to both Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven. After thinking about it, star constellation Immortal Venerable came up with a plan. At the next moment, she connected to Treasure Yellow Heaven and contacted Fang Yuan. Great love Immortal Venerable, I want your help in refining some Immortal GU, what do you think? Star constellation Immortal Venerable said while smiling. In the immemorial two heavens, Fang Yuan's gaze flickered slightly. He had also expected star constellation Immortal Venerable to find him. Fang Yuan understood the intention of star constellation Immortal Venerable. He said, what Immortal GU do you want? Also, star constellation Immortal Venerable, how will you deal with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable? Star constellation Immortal Venerable replied immediately, I need Star Thought Immortal GU, Star Eyes Immortal GU, and Permanence Immortal GU. Fang Yuan was silent for a while before replying, sure, but I need to see your sincerity first. Okay, here is my sincerity. Before star constellation Immortal Venerable finished her words, she turned into a star rainbow that flew straight for northern plains. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2231 Refining Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Chapter 2231 Refining Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Star constellation Immortal Venerable was very daring. She flew rapidly and went deep into northern plains, the former location of Imperial Court Blessed Land. She did not target any of the Huang Jin tribe members. She acted like Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, staying in the sky and starting to refine the natural wisdom path Tao marks of northern plains. At once, starlight shined in the sky, spreading rapidly to the surroundings. Star constellation Immortal Venerable did not move into Longevity Heaven directly. Although it seemed like this was the best opportunity to attack Longevity Heaven, since Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was far away in Eastern Sea, the truth was that it was not easy for Star Constellation Immortal Venerable to enter Longevity Heaven. Grotto heavens were condensed into one spot in the sky. Unless the Immortal Aperture's entrance was open, outsiders could not get in easily. This was also why heaven form had immense value. Furthermore, even if Star Constellation Immortal Venerable managed to get inside Longevity Heaven, she could not destroy the rank 9 Grotto Heaven in a short period of time. By then, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable would come back and defend the Grotto Heaven. He would fight against Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. In that case, if Giant Sun Immortal Venerable gives up on Fang Yuan and fights Star Constellation Immortal Venerable instead, not only would there be risks of getting injured, he would expend more immortal essence as well. That would benefit Fang Yuan too much. In this contest of three venerables, they were mutually wary of each other. While thinking of ways to attack the others, these venerables also had to maintain their own development speed. This situation was very complex now. If one acted rashly without consideration, they would be courting death. Having judgment was very important. If one made an appropriate move with just the right intensity, they would gain a bit of advantage in this stalemate of the three venerables. The three venerables knew this, thus, each of their actions contained deep meaning and considered the reactions of each other. In most cases, they reacted according to the situation. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had already calculated her current actions clearly. This was the most advantageous move for her. Firstly, Fang Yuan had to be weakened. This person was too shameless and had no bottom line. In Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's mind, even if they had the same battle strength, Fang Yuan would still be a bigger problem than Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Currently, Fang Yuan's circumstances were very troublesome. The difficulty of maintaining heaven form would only increase with time, because more than half of his heaven path research results came from Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. She knew about this clearly. Fang Yuan had to guard heaven form while expending immortal essence. This depleted his already low reserves. And now, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable came to Eastern Sea to refine its luck path Tao marks. This was a way to weaken Fang Yuan as well. At the same time, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable requested Immortal GU from Fang Yuan in exchange for making a move. This was also a way to weaken him. In addition, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was also weakened by this move. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had the advantage of immortal essence. This was something that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable knew. With this advantage, if Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not disrupt him, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's Tao mark refinement rate would always be higher than Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Additionally, for Heavenly Court, Northern Plains GU Immortal World had a bigger threat than Eastern Seas GU Immortal World. It was a well-known fact that Northern Plains GU Immortals had outstanding battle strength and bravery. This was something that Eastern Sea lacked. Star Constellation. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, who was in ICC area, gritted his teeth, his expression turned ugly. But he did not move from his position, he continued to refine the luck path Tao marks. Because Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not attack Longevity Heaven or the Huang Jin tribes, this was not something that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could not endure. If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable went beyond this, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable would return and fight with her. This was undeniable. If a strong enemy tried to step over one's bottom line, there had to be fierce retaliation. Otherwise, the enemy would think that one was easy to bully, then in the future, life would only get tougher. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not step over Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's bottom line, so there was no intense desire for Giant Sun Immortal Venerable to return to Northern Plains. So what if he returned? By then, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable could just leave, but could Giant Sun Immortal Venerable chase after her and barge into Heavenly Court? Even if he reached Heavenly Court, could he fight against Star Constellation Immortal Venerable? Would Fang Yuan not benefit from that? If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable left and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not chase her, if he returned to Eastern Sea, what if Star Constellation Immortal Venerable went back to Northern Plains again? If they did this repeatedly, what would be the point of it all? Was traveling not costly on Immortal Essence? If Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did that, he would not be able to refine many of Eastern Sea's luck path Tao marks, yet he would spend a lot of time and Immortal Essence. Was that not a huge joke? The situation was different for Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Even if she attacked or retreated multiple times, she would still get Fang Yuan's Immortal GU. Thus, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable chose not to move, he continued refining Eastern Sea's luck path Tao marks. But at this time, Fang Yuan approached Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Giant Sun, why must we behave like this? We are both victims of Heavenly Court, they have the deepest foundation and Central Continent is the strongest region, this is an undeniable fact. Furthermore, not long ago, Heavenly Court denounced us as demon venerables. We need to join hands and deal with Heavenly Court instead. Look at the situation now, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable has openly gone to Northern Plains to refine the wisdom path Tao marks there, she is simply disregarding your existence. Fang Yuan urged him while suggesting, why don't we have a transaction, I will pay you Immortal GU in exchange for you refining Central Continent's Tao marks. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable laughed as he replied, Fang Yuan, it seems that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable made such a transaction with you too. Since the 5 regions are one, and the regional walls no longer exist, I can not only refine Eastern Sea's luck path Tao marks here, but also Central Continents. If you want me to let Eastern Sea off, I need to see how many Immortal GU you can give. When Fang Yuan and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable were still bargaining, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable contacted him again. Fang Yuan, you have already seen my sincerity. It is your turn now. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable asked for Immortal GU directly. Fang Yuan was silent for a moment before sending Permanence GU into Treasure Yellow Heaven. Speaking of which, this Permanence GU belonged to Heavenly Court at first. Back then, Fang Yuan had obtained it after destroying Heavenly Court's Immortal GU house, Eternal Yacht, in the River of Time. After Star Constellation Immortal Venerable received Permanence GU, she inspected it before hearing Fang Yuan's new suggestion. If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable attacked Longevity Heaven or any of the Huang Jin tribes, he would pay her even more Immortal GU. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled. If I do that, it will not be just 3 Immortal GU. Her attitude was quite similar to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable who was talking on the other end. Fang Yuan snorted in his heart. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was a Wisdom Path Immortal Venerable after all, in this situation, she was gaining the most benefits. Fang Yuan was merely trying to stall for time now to undergo refinement. As long as he refined rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, these losses would all be worth it, even if he had to increase the chips. But the problem for Fang Yuan now was that he lacked Immortal Essence. It seems that I must accelerate the time of the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. Right now, Fang Yuan's gaze was like a hawk, he stared at Heaven form sharply, it shivered in response. Fang Yuan did not want to raise the speed of time in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, but there were no alternatives. At this point, he had already paid a considerable price to get this opportunity. And Fang Yuan's biggest worry was that such an opportunity seldom knocked twice, in the future, he might not be able to do this anymore. If the opportunity presented itself, he had to grab onto it. Within the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, Fang Yuan's time path clone He Chun Chu started to use time path killer moves. One after another, killer moves were activated, the raging water of the river of time was drawn into the year essence pool. Next, through it, the water was diverted to the respective sub-pools. The time path zones that the year essence pool controlled had faster time flow now, it was obvious when compared to the surroundings. And this difference was expanding and getting more evident. After Fang Yuan became venerable, the sovereign immortal aperture's rate of time became quite close to the 5 regions, but now, after he used this method, the difference became larger again. This was a huge threat, of course. Normally speaking, a chaotic disaster occurred once 100 years, now, it might arrive in 70 or 80 years. Once Fang Yuan's chaotic disaster arrived, the other venerables would find the chance to attack him together. At that time, he would face both internal and external threats. Fang Yuan had a determined expression, he resolved himself after making this choice. Whether this gamble was worth it would depend on the future. As the sovereign immortal aperture's rate of time rose, the production of yellow apricot immortal essence also started to accelerate. The development of the immortal aperture was improved greatly as well. The 3 venerables were in a deadlock now. As days passed, the 5 regions GU immortal world focused on these 3 venerables, observing their actions and discussing their possible future decisions. Because He Chun Chu used too many time path methods in this period, he had to recuperate and rest. Thus, Wu Shuai led the other GU immortals and formed the first water vein. Fang Yuan was facing greater difficulty in maintaining heaven form now. While Star Constellation Immortal Venerable asked him for a second immortal GU. Star Eyes, Star Thought. After hesitating for a while, Fang Yuan chose to give Star Thought Immortal GU to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Immortal Killer Move, Obscured Heavenly Secret. On this day, Fang Yuan finally used this killer move officially, it marked the start of Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, Refinement. This time, Obscured Heavenly Secret was modified by Fang Yuan, it contained a few more Heaven Path Immortal GU. Not only was it stronger and thicker, it could even allow him to control the range of Obscured Heavenly Secret to a certain extent. Fang Yuan was not stingy now, he directly used 60% of his Heaven Path Immortal materials. At almost the same time as Obscured Heavenly Secret's activation, within the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, the refinement to advance Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus also started. Inside 4 Elements Square Regret Blood Refinement Pool, Wu Shuai, He Chun Chu, and around 10 Hairy Man GU Immortals got to their stations and started to wait for the refinement to start. This was an incredible group that gathered, but they were only helping out now. The divine sense of Fang Yuan's main body was present now, he was going to refine GU personally. Rumble, jade light shot out, surging like a flowing river. Fragrance spread everywhere, causing people to feel delighted. This was just the first step, but a small mountain of rank 9 wood path immortal materials were already expended. Rank 9 immortal GU were all extraordinary, while Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's vital GU, it was also the most helpful GU to Fang Yuan now. This was a huge uncertainty. Therefore, Fang Yuan soon sensed a huge fluctuation in his own luck. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2232 Furnace Luck. Chapter 2232, Furnace Luck. Fang Yuan willed in his mind, rank 8 immortal GU house cooking luck pot started to activate. Fang Yuan diverted his gaze and looked up above him. He saw that his rank 9 refinement path luck was like a furnace. The furnace seemed to be made of clay, there were many cracks on the surface that made it look like it was poorly created. At the bottom of the furnace, there was a pile of firewood burning intensely. This showed that Fang Yuan was currently using all of his immortal essence reserves. Within the furnace, 2 lumps of clouds were intertwined. One lump was an immortal crane cloud that was white in color with black spots inside, it resembled heaven form. This cloud was close to breaking apart, but each time it was about to collapse, heat would be emitted from the furnace to forcefully gather it again. The other lump of cloud was smaller, it resembled a green lotus. The green lotus cloud was the opposite of the immortal crane, the latter was close to breaking apart while the former was too tightly compacted. Most of the furnace's heat was used on this green lotus cloud, it was trying to melt a piece of limestone. The green lotus cloud was mostly condensed, only a small portion melted and spread out, flowing towards the cracks of the furnace and sinking to the bottom, as if it was trying to take root. The furnace is too crudely made, it is filled with cracks, that shows that my foundation is not stable. The sovereign immortal aperture also has another hidden threat, because it has not gone through an actual chaotic disaster, there is huge room for improvement. The immortal crane cloud is heaven form, while the green lotus cloud is my attempt at refining heavenly essence treasure imperial lotus. What about the luck of other venerables? Fang Yuan tried to look, but he could not see anything beyond the furnace luck. When he was rank 8, his luck was like a silver light pillar, while the other 3 venerables' lucks were like clouds floating around him. Right now, he had become a refinement path venerable, but he could no longer see the venerables' lucks. Fang Yuan knew the reason. Other than the 2 venerables' defensive methods, the main reason was that cooking luck pot's rank was too low. It was only rank 8, it was already outstanding to be able to see Fang Yuan's own rank 9 luck. Of course, there were still specific details that could not be seen through it. If it had to observe the other 2 lucks and see how they related to Fang Yuan's own luck, the difficulty would be beyond cooking luck pot's capability. But even if I can see the luck relationship, I cannot use it as reliable information. Fang Yuan thought. Before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan used luck inspection multiple times. Now that he recalled it, the luck phenomena regarding star constellation Immortal Venerable and Spectral Soul Demon Venerable were quite accurate. The main reason for what he saw was that star constellation Immortal Venerable was split into 3 existences, while Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was not in his normal state, and they were also not luck path cultivators. The golden aurora luck of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was clearly not reliable. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable revived through blood path methods, but this important information was not shown in the luck phenomenon. At the same time, his combat system had a terrifying aftereffect, this was also not exposed. The golden aurora luck that symbolized Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was suppressed most of the time. Evidently, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had used luck path methods to conceal his own luck and mislead Fang Yuan. He was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, the former luck path venerable, he was also clear of how cooking luck pot worked, it was not strange that he achieved this. Fang Yuan was currently thinking of using obscured heavenly secret to deceive the 2 venerables. The truth was, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had already been doing this before the battle in Crazed Demon Cave. Inside the Sovereign Immortal Aperture. 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool. Gray fire was burning intensely, it was huge like a mountain. Wood path immortal materials were put inside one by one as they melted like candles. At the bottom of the fire, there was a 10,000-year profound ice. Rank 8 Immortal GU Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was sealed within the profound ice. The GU Immortals present were tense and nervous originally, but more than 10 days had passed since the refinement started, all of them were starting to feel excited and joyful. All of the immortal materials have successfully melted. At this rate of progress, in just 10 or so days, the advancement will succeed. What sort of incredible GU refinement method is this? On the surface, it looks like the fusion of ice refinement and fire refinement, but in essence, this is the perfect combination of the profundity of the human isolation style and hairy man natural GU refinement method. There are also many crucial points that are filled with mystery. Even if we participated personally and watched the entire process closely, we cannot understand the deep meaning contained within. Master is truly worthy of being a refinement path venerable, the difference between us is night and day. But right at this time, Fang Yuan's expression sank. Oh no, the GU refinement is going to fail. An intense refinement path intuition filled his mind and body. Fang Yuan bore no doubt towards this intuition, at the first instant, he realized the truth. There was a problem with the processing of the wood path immortal materials. These wood path immortal materials seemed to be fine, but there was a tiny flaw in each step of the process. As these flaws accumulated, they became significant enough to destroy the entire refinement attempt. If he continued, there would be no point. Fang Yuan made a decision to terminate the GU refinement attempt. What? Why did we stop? Everything was gone smoothly. Fool, Master made a decision, it has to be right. We are too weak, how can we understand him? Immediately follow his orders and do it. Within 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool, the 10 or so GU immortals worked chaotically as they gradually stopped the GU refinement. After a day and night, under the full effort of Fang Yuan and the rest, the first refinement attempt stopped. All of the rank 9 immortal materials that they invested were wasted. The GU immortals all had mild injuries, even 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool was damaged. But what made Fang Yuan feel the most loss was the expenditure of yellow apricot immortal essence. As the main person involved in this refinement, he suffered the most severe injuries. Immortal killer move, refine self. Fang Yuan used his killer move and refined all of the wood path and refinement path Dao marks while feeling glad internally. Thankfully, I became a Venerable and gained such precise refinement path intuition. Even during the process of refining a rank 9 Immortal GU, I still hold the initiative. Having the initiative made the situation completely different. Like this time, Fang Yuan sensed that he would fail and immediately stopped. By doing this, he suffered much fewer losses and most importantly, their injuries were also kept to a minimum due to their precaution. Rank 9 Immortal GU refinement was not a simple thing. Without intuition, if one failed suddenly, more than half of these GU immortals would die, while 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool would be destroyed completely, or if he was lucky, a small portion might remain. But Fang Yuan would suffer much deeper injuries, it was certain to incapacitate him. But now that he took the initiative to stop, the loss of resources and GU immortals, and the Immortal GU house's damage were kept to a minimum. Rank 8 Immortal GU Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was also intact with no damage taken. Of course, this had to do with the refinement plan that Fang Yuan came up with meticulously. This time, he chose to use ice refinement to isolate rank 8 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus first. He would only use it in the last few steps. If only I could get some success Dao marks from infallible blessed land, that would be great. Or maybe, if I can raise my wood path attainment level, my ability to process these wood path immortal materials will increase, it will help this situation. Fang Yuan speculated inwardly. Even Fang Yuan had not understood completely what the secret behind infallible blessed land's success Dao marks was. He was a refinement path venerable. Theoretically, he was the #1 person in refinement path in the world. His supreme grand master attainment level allowed him to grasp every single refinement path method in the world. But infallible blessed land was the racial inheritance of hairy men. Even until today, Heavenly Court had not managed to take control of it. They were very wary against it. Success Dao marks were too helpful for GU refinement. According to Fang Yuan's deductions, it not only contained refinement path profundity but also the essence of human path. This could be speculated by reading less than the legends of Ren Zhu greater than. Precisely because of the human path profundity, Fang Yuan could not replicate the success Dao marks now. After a temporary rest, Fang Yuan healed himself while stabilizing heaven form. He also used investigative killer moves to observe the two Venerables' actions. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was in ICC area, while Star Constellation Immortal Venerable went deep into northern plains. They were both focused on refining natural Dao marks. The best situation is to maintain the status quo. For this goal, Fang Yuan was willing to pay more Immortal GU to them. This was a necessary investment. However, the two Venerables are unable to fully refine the natural Dao marks of both regions. I do not have much time left. Fang Yuan understood this clearly. It was a simple thing. Eastern Sea and Northern Plains were huge and contained innumerable Dao marks. Even these two Venerables could not refine them all in a short period of time. This was an easily proven fact. He only had to check historical records and see how long the Venerables took to roam the world after reaching rank 9. The two Venerables are limited by not just time but also immortal essence. Once the two of them run out of immortal essence reserves, they will not be able to continue refining natural Dao marks, they will stop then. After all, they need to keep a portion of their immortal essence for combat and potential unexpected occurrences. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. This GU refinement failure was very disadvantageous to him. Because it did not fail early but only occurred past the halfway mark, he had to start all over again. Fang Yuan had too little time. He estimated that there was only one chance left. No, one chance is too few. It has been tested that even as a rank 9 refinement path venerable, my success rate of refining rank 9 immortal GU is far lower than rank 8. It seems that I need to gamble harder. Fang Yuan immediately ordered for He Chun Chu to take action in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture again. Time path killer moves were used in succession. Sovereign Immortal Aperture's time flow rose again. But Fang Yuan paid a huge price for this. Because he had just used time path killer moves earlier, the effect of the current methods were too little. In order to raise the time flow forcefully, Fang Yuan had to use other time path methods. And the result was that He Chun Chu's time path Dao marks were all used up in the process. It could be said that this time path clone was basically useless now. But in the current situation, with Spring Autumn Cicada being unusable, it was not a huge concern that the time path clone became useless. After everything was prepared, Fang Yuan started to refine Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus again while racing against time. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2233 Black Heaven's Heavenly Spirit. Chapter 2233 Black Heaven's heavenly spirit. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture. Quick, take my place, I can't hold on anymore. All come, huff, we finally got through another stage. Within 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool, the assisting GU immortals were all breathing roughly. After the first failure, Fang Yuan continued to experience 2 more failed attempts. He had no lack of rank 9 wood path immortal materials, but time was pressing, he had no choice but to use more aggressive methods. He changed the procedure of the GU refinement. Rank 8 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus had to be protected, but the steps before that became more simplified. As a result, the expenditure of immortal essence became more intense, each step became more complex and needed the full effort of the assisting GU immortals. Evidently, they were reaching their limit. Fang Yuan frowned deeply. A few days passed but the 2 venerables did not move, the situation was getting more troublesome for him. Not only was there little progress in refining rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, heaven form was also becoming harder to protect. The fusion of the immemorial 2 heavens had reached the most intense moment. In the sky above the 5 regions, black and white mixed together while changing rapidly. Day and night alternated at a rapid speed, mortals and beasts looked up in fear, they felt like the apocalypse was impending. Even the sun's route had changed. Everything that stood in its path, be they the black clouds or the soul beast army, they were all obliterated. The heaven form white crane cried out profusely. Fang Yuan tried using refinement path methods but could only slow down the accumulation of its injuries. Heaven form was getting more and more damaged. But Fang Yuan had already reached his own limit, he could not modify heaven form anymore. After all, he was currently refining a rank 9 immortal GU. The most crucial factor is time. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable are about to stop as well. Fang Yuan had already given the 3rd Immortal GU Star Eyes to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, he could still stall for a bit of time. Furthermore, Fang Yuan had been wasting time conversing with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, using the suggestion of transacting Immortal GU to delay the inevitable. During this period, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had used their own investigative methods to probe Fang Yuan's situation. But because of the outstanding effects of obscured heavenly secret, Fang Yuan managed to conceal the truth. Fang Yuan had already expended a lot of immortal essence, his reserves were hitting rock bottom, meaning his battle strength had also fallen. If the truth was exposed, the 2 venerables would join hands to attack him. Deep in northern plains, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable looked at the fusing heavens as starlight flashed across her eyes. It is about time. Now is the most intense moment of the heaven veins, fusion, it is also the most important moment. If Fang Yuan gets through this, he may likely get to keep heaven form. But how can we let this happen? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled, she moved and vanished on the spot like a stream of starlight. She quickly returned to Crazed Demon Cave. Because she was familiar with the place, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable easily arrived at the 9th layer void. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was trapped here. Upon seeing Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, he roared and charged at her. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was prepared for this, she blocked Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's attacks while activating a method to form an opening. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable flew through this opening as Spectral Soul Demon Venerable chased after her, causing them both to arrive in northern plains. What? At almost the same time, Fang Yuan and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had a sensation. As Star Constellation Immortal Venerable thinking of releasing Spectral Soul Demon Venerable to slaughter living beings of my northern plains. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable frowned. He had considered this possibility earlier. But this was not the style of Heavenly Court. As expected, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not guess wrongly, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable retreated while luring Spectral Soul Demon Venerable to the 2 heavens. Fang Yuan is in trouble. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable relaxed his mind, he started to observe the show as a spectator. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, what are you doing? Fang Yuan immediately questioned her in Treasure Yellow Heaven, speaking furiously, I gave you 3 immortal GU earlier. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled, precisely so, I will tell you this secret that nobody knows. Back then, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable did not want to create Soul Path, his goal was killing Path. He is a person chosen by fate, he had immense innate luck and countless fortuitous encounters. Once, when he explored immemorial Black Heaven, what do you think he saw? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable spoke in a delicate tone. Upon hearing her words, Fang Yuan's expression sank as thoughts emerged in his mind. This was not hard to guess. Firstly, spectral soul demon Venerable was not in the right state of mind, he lost his sanity and even went to fix the hole in the world boundary in Crazed Demon Cave. Secondly, star constellation Immortal Venerable was currently trying to lure spectral soul demon Venerable to the immemorial two heavens. She wanted to give Fang Yuan trouble. But what kind of trouble was it? Even though heaven form could only remain in immemorial white heaven, it could still move around despite being on the brink of destruction. Thus, in theory, as long as Fang Yuan avoided battle and brought heaven form around at a quick speed, he only had to get away from star constellation Immortal Venerable. By then, spectral soul demon Venerable without sanity would only attack star constellation Immortal Venerable. After all, she was the most threatening person to him. But now, since star constellation Immortal Venerable took such an action, she definitely had ways for spectral soul demon Venerable to target Fang Yuan instead. With Fang Yuan's current predicament, the most likely answer became obvious. Fang Yuan snorted in his heart. Star constellation Immortal Venerable explained the truth. It seems that you have guessed it. Indeed, back then, before spectral soul became a demon Venerable, he had already obtained food path methods. Once, when he explored immemorial Black Heaven, he by chance found immemorial Black Heaven's heavenly spirit. Spectral soul was eager to create killing path, he sensed the opportunity of that from the heavenly spirit. Thus, he used food path methods to devour this immemorial Black Heavenly spirit into his stomach and fused it with himself. Immemorial Black Heaven's heavenly spirit. Back then, since thieving heaven demon Venerable could find a natural heavenly spirit in immemorial white heaven, why was there no such thing in Black Heaven? The reason was that spectral soul demon Venerable had devoured Black Heaven's heavenly spirit. Fang Yuan, I will keep those three immortal GU. I need to return to Northern Plains and refine more wisdom path Dao marks. I will leave spectral soul demon Venerable with you. After saying this, star constellation Immortal Venerable turned around and left. Seeing that she was leaving, spectral soul demon Venerable showed a hesitant expression. Staring at star constellation Immortal Venerable who left, he turned towards Fang Yuan as there was something that attracted him even more. Fang Yuan's expression was grim. Spectral soul demon Venerable was still in the heaven above Northern Plains, but he had already sensed heaven form which was in Eastern Sea. Evidently, after he devoured Black Heaven's heavenly spirit, although he did not manage to create killing path, he still grasped a lot of profundities that allowed him to create soul path. When spectral soul demon Venerable was trapped in the 9th layer, he could not sense the 5 regions and 2 heavens, but once he arrived in the immemorial 2 heavens, he clearly sensed the heavenly spirit. Black Heavens and White Heaven's heavenly spirits originate from the immemorial 2 heavens, they are like a blessed land's land spirit and a grotto heaven's heavenly spirit, they hold authority and control over the 2 heavens. Precisely so, heaven form, which uses White Heaven's heavenly spirit as the core, is able to find many of the grotto heavens in White Heaven, it can even help me invade heavenly court. Now, with the fusion of both heavens, the 2 heavenly spirits of Black and White Heaven are also seemingly fusing together. No matter which side devours the other, they will gain a huge boost in strength and become the new core of the newly fused heaven. All sorts of reasons flashed in Fang Yuan's mind. Over at the other side, spectral soul demon Venerable made his decision, he charged towards Fang Yuan's direction, seemingly following his instincts. He had a huge body that was no longer human, but he had genuine rank 9 cultivation level, he was extremely fast and simply looked like he was teleporting in Black Heaven. Fang Yuan sighed, seeing that spectral soul demon Venerable was getting closer, he took heaven form and started to fly away. The sun was something that existed in immemorial White Heaven, it was the biggest counter to immemorial Black Heaven. After spectral soul demon Venerable devoured Black Heaven's heavenly spirit, he would also face such restrictions. Fang Yuan did not move all over the place. Firstly, heaven form was very unstable now, if he moved quickly, it might break apart. Secondly, the sun was a favorable environment for heaven form. And thirdly, if Fang Yuan went elsewhere to fight spectral soul demon Venerable, the other 2 Venerables might sense his weakness and take action. Fang Yuan's main focus was to refine heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus now. He had to stall for more time and complete the refinement. Roar! Spectral soul demon Venerable started to chase Fang Yuan. Black-colored gas spread out into countless chains that shot towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan snorted and used a bit of his attention to destroy the black chains. His speed rose again as he approached the sun. As the distance shortened, the intense heat and light forced Fang Yuan to shut his eyes. If not for his defensive methods, he would have already been incinerated. Spectral soul demon Venerable chased relentlessly. He spit out a grand soul river while shooting countless soul spears and triggering explosions. He used all sorts of methods to stop Fang Yuan, but midway, the sun's light limited the power of his methods. By the time they reached Fang Yuan, the methods broke apart by themselves. Heaven form was crying more pitifully now. The closer it got to the sun, the more light path and fire path Tao marks there were. Heaven form could not take much more. I can't get any closer, otherwise, heaven form is going to break apart. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth. He followed after the trail of the sun, maintaining a certain distance. But then, after Spectral Soul Demon Venerable finally arrived, he started to fight against Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan fought as he retreated. He had to defend heaven form while dealing with Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. He also had to refine the rank 9 Immortal GU. Thoughts were being consumed rapidly in his mind. His immortal essence reserves reached a critical level. The situation was perilous. This could not go on. If he fought now, his weakness would be exposed. Obscured heavenly secret could not hide anything in that case. A ruthless light flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes. He knew that those two venerables were currently watching the commotion here with their full attention. I can only sacrifice heaven form now. At the next moment, Fang Yuan secretly activated obscured heavenly secret. But this time, the heaven form immortal material he chose to expend was the core of heaven form, the immemorial white heavenly spirit. Heaven form cried out as it looked at its master in fear. But in a few breaths of time, it vanished from existence entirely. A vast number of heaven path Tao marks that piled into a dense mountain shrouded Fang Yuan immediately. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable became enraged. Fang Yuan had destroyed heaven form in front of him and left nothing behind. At the next moment, Soul Path Killer moves erupted, attacks surged like a huge tidal wave in the sky. Fang Yuan snorted coldly. He turned around and flew towards the sun. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2234 Refinement completed. Chapter 2234 Refinement completed. Immortal Killer Move, 7 kills Rainbow. Fang Yuan pushed with his palm as a rainbow light shot out. Bam! With a loud sound, the rainbow light expanded by tens of times its original size. The huge heavenly beam swept around and destroyed all of the surrounding soul smoke. After getting a clear path, Fang Yuan raised his speed and successfully broke out of the soul smoke. At once, the intense sun filled Fang Yuan's vision. The terrifying light and heat wiped out the soul smoke that trailed behind him. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable shouted furiously, tearing its thin layer of soul smoke and chasing again. Still following me? Cold light flashed across Fang Yuan's eyes. At the crucial moment, he sacrificed the white heavenly spirit. Without the burden of heaven form, it was like he had put down a mountain on his back. Earlier, he could not get close to the sun because of heaven form. Without this worry anymore, Fang Yuan approached the sun even more closely. The terrifying white light almost blinded his eyes. The temperature rose intensely. Even with 3 defensive methods, Fang Yuan still felt difficulty in breathing. He was covered in perspiration. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, who was behind him, activated killer moves again. Hundreds of arms that were thick as huge trees appeared. Black smoke surged from his body, spreading to the surrounding few li. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable got closer to Fang Yuan while covered in thick smoke. He wants to use a battlefield killer move to trap me. Surprise flashed in Fang Yuan's eyes as he took action to destroy the black smoke. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable immediately suffered a backlash. His aura weakened greatly. Most of Fang Yuan's attention was on Sovereign Immortal Aperture. He had not stopped focusing on the matter of refining Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Frankly speaking, the current Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was giving Fang Yuan very little pressure. The lack of sanity was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's greatest weakness. Like earlier, he followed his instincts and tried to use a battlefield killer move to trap Fang Yuan. It was too stupid. Fang Yuan easily broke it and caused him to suffer a huge backlash. Earlier in Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, and Paradise Earth were inside the door of life and death. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had incomparable battle strength then. But now, without the Soul Path environment, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's threat became much lower. And most importantly, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable is not in a good condition now. He must have paid a huge price to deal with that hole in Crazed Demon Cave. This means that the hole has likely been fixed by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable already. Fang Yuan knew that if there was a hole in the world boundary, the Heavenly Tao would use methods to heal itself. But because the chaos outside surged endlessly, self-healing was very difficult. The larger the hole, the more difficult it would be. Back then, thieving heaven demon Venerable created a hole that needed several Venerables to work together to mend it. But the hole in limitless demon Venerable's crazed demon formation was the smallest. The formation resisted the chaos and kept the hole small, allowing crazed demon cave to exist for so long. After the battle in crazed demon cave, spectral soul demon Venerable went to fix this hole. He used his own foundation to resist the surging chaos, allowing the heavenly Tao to have an opportunity to fix it. Thus, there was no surprise in this outcome. If the hole still existed, with heavenly court's stance, star constellation Immortal Venerable would not lure spectral soul demon Venerable away. The truth was, if the hole was still around, spectral soul demon Venerable would not come out either. According to Fang Yuan's deductions, he would focus on the hole as his first priority. It is a pity that ghostly concealment has no effect, otherwise, I can get away from spectral soul demon Venerable. Fang Yuan inherited thieving heaven true inheritance's ghostly concealment, but the Venerables knew about this. Spectral soul demon Venerable, star constellation Immortal Venerable, and even giant sun Immortal Venerable had ways to counter it. Ghostly concealment was created in thieving heaven's time. After 300,000 years, it is already outdated in the Venerable's eyes. Fang Yuan wanted to modify it too, but he lacked theft path and soul path attainment levels. But even without ghostly concealment, Fang Yuan could still get away from spectral soul demon Venerable. At the next moment, the battlefield killer move that he prepared for a long time activated. The killer move expanded and enveloped Fang Yuan. It then condensed into a small dot and vanished completely. Spectral soul demon Venerable attacked the original spot with countless attacks, but there was no effect. He could only move around the area while growling in anger. I cannot waste this chance. Such an opportunity will not come again. Inside the battlefield killer move, Fang Yuan's eyes shined with brilliance. He started to refine heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus with his full strength. This was his last chance. Within 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool, flames surged as an icy river melted. Pieces of rank 9 immortal materials were placed into the fire like cheap vegetables. At the core of the fire, there was a droplet of red liquid. It was as dense as molten lava. The red molten liquid was covered in a layer of golden radiance. It slowly dripped onto heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus. Under Fang Yuan's full control, the red molten liquid slowly permeated and spread around the surface of heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus. All of the GU immortals were silent and did not dare to breathe heavily. Because they knew that these last few steps were the most crucial. If he fails, rank 8 heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus would be heavily damaged or even destroyed. Fang Yuan went missing. At the moment Fang Yuan entered the battlefield killer move, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable used their strongest investigative methods. Under the protection of obscured heavenly secret, they only saw that Fang Yuan went into the battlefield. They did not find out the truth that he was refining GU. So he used this move after all. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was not surprised. If Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was sane, Fang Yuan would not do something so stupid. But because he was currently unable to think, it was a brilliant decision to do this and avoid him. He wants to use the sun to weaken Spectral Soul. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable guessed. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable stayed at the spot where Fang Yuan vanished, but the sun was still moving forward. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable smiled lightly. She immediately contacted Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and gave a suggestion to work together. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could not help but feel moved. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not suggest to make a move on Fang Yuan. Instead, her new target was Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was not clear-headed now. He had also left the door of life and death. Even though he had venerable cultivation level, he was the weakest one. Now was the best time to kill him. If Spectral Soul Demon Venerable regained his sanity, then there would be a new chess player in the 5 regions and 2 heavens. That was something neither of the 3 Venerables wanted to see. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable not only contacted Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, she also spoke to Fang Yuan. This old woman is brewing a good scheme. Not only did she get Immortal GU from me, she also refined Northern Plains Wisdom Path Dao marks. After destroying my heaven form, she wants to kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable now. The methods of Wisdom Path GU Immortals usually came consecutively. They were hard to deal with over time. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was the strongest Wisdom Path GU Immortal in history. Her methods and schemes made even Fang Yuan and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable wary. However, it was undeniable that this suggestion was very tempting. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was in such a state. He had strength but not sanity. He was the best prey. Normally, I will definitely be moved. But now, refining heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus is the most important thing. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan still agreed to the suggestion. It was too suspicious if he refused. On one hand, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable might think that he was lacking immortal essence and did not want to take action, it might cause them to pincer attack him. On the other hand, if Fang Yuan hid in the corner, the two Venerables would not truly fight Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. They did not want him to reap the benefits as a spectator after all. Currently, in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, the sixth drop of red molten liquid had already entered Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Fang Yuan agreed to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable while contacting Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Giant Sun, I'm afraid Star Constellation Immortal Venerable has a deeper scheme in mind. Don't forget that she once controlled Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. It is likely that she will use this to weaken him before attempting to take control again. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable responded quickly. Heavenly Court is still very strong, while Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's schemes are unfathomable. However, we must try to kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. If he regains his sanity, it will be a problem for us all. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable also agreed to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's suggestion. This was beneficial to him after all. He had abundant immortal essence now. If everyone fought, they would use up immortal essence, his advantage would become even greater. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable went into the two heavens. They started to fight against Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. After a few rounds, under the urging of the two Venerables, Fang Yuan had to cancel his battlefield killer move and join in the fight with his main body. It could not be helped. If he did not go out, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would break his battlefield killer move together and force him out. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable could not think clearly now. He was helpless against a battlefield killer move, but the two Venerables were different. Starlight shined while golden light surged. Fang Yuan's totem killer moves also followed after them. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was encircled and ganged up on. He landed in a pathetic state and lost several hundred arms. He retaliated fiercely with soul rivers and black soul lightning balls that exploded continuously. His main target was still Fang Yuan. If he devoured the white heavenly spirit, his ability to think would return. Is that why he hates me so much? Fang Yuan gritted his teeth but did not dodge. Within the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, he reached the final step. The 99th molten liquid landed on Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus and started to spread. Rumble. Fang Yuan's vision turned dark. His body was covered in the cries and screams of anguished souls. Multiple layers of defensive killer moves erupted as Fang Yuan bled from his 7 orifices. His soul was shaking intensely. What happened? Did he make a mistake? The two Venerables retreated to the side. In the earlier situation, Fang Yuan should have had time to dodge. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable looked at each other. They did not make a move. They would not save Fang Yuan of course, but due to conflicting Dao marks, if they attacked him, they would be weakening the Soul Path attack. Using this chance created by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's attack, Fang Yuan stalled for the last bit of time he needed. Boom. 4 elements square regret blood refinement pool erupted with unparalleled light. Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was successfully elevated at this moment. Its rank 9 aura surged like a tsunami, spreading rapidly and filling the entire aperture. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2235 Spectral Soul Alone is Nothing to Fear. Chapter 2235 Spectral Soul Alone is Nothing to Fear. Rank 3 Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus. Rank 4 Heavenly Essence Treasure Monarch Lotus. Rank 5 Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus. And above Rank 5 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. The Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus that he obtained from Langya sect was finally raised to rank 9 at this moment. This rank 9 Immortal GU still had jade green lotus leaves. Its surface was bright and smooth, like it had a layer of glaze. At the center of the lotus, there was the bud of a lotus flower. The lotus flower had pure white jade-like petals. They were flawless and perfect, seemingly out of this world. Once rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was refined, it activated on its own, absorbing the surrounding primeval energy to convert them into clear dew beads. These pure dew beads gathered as they flowed along the glazed leaves, gathering into the bud at the center droplet by droplet. The white jade flower bud absorbed the dew droplets and started to turn pink at the top. Fang Yuan personally refined this Immortal GU. He was clear about this. The white jade flower bud would gather more dew droplets and turn from white to pink, and from pink to bright red. When the flower petals turned red completely, it would bloom and reveal the jade-green lotus pod inside. Within the lotus pod, there would be 81 lotus seeds, each of them was a yellow apricot immortal essence bead. After the yellow apricot immortal essence beads were extracted, the lotus flower would contract and turn white again. Next, it would absorb the clear dew droplets and restart the process again. Rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerables Vital GU, ranked 6th on the Immortal GU list. Information flashed past Fang Yuan's mind, all of them proved the immense value of this Immortal GU. But the truth was, Fang Yuan knew that this 6th placing of the Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was too much of an underestimate. The reason, before Fate GU was destroyed, Venerables were invincible, they ruled their own era as the sole supreme entity. Even though Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable had rank 9 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus and became the richest Venerable in history in terms of immortal essence, this advantage was useless in his life. In his era, he was the only Venerable, he had no use for most of his rank 9 immortal essence. Without any opponent, even an expert could only live his life mundanely. But now was different, Fate GU was destroyed and the reign of 3 Venerables appeared, others might even revive later. O Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, in my hands, you will shine brightly like never before. Fang Yuan was joyous. This result made all the earlier risks worth it. Even though he paid a terrifying price. Adding in his earlier failures, Fang Yuan used up 30% of his rank 9 wood path immortal materials. The crisis is not over yet. Fang Yuan analyzed calmly to himself. Surrounding him, a black soul river surged endlessly. Break! Fang Yuan shouted and activated his killer move. He barged out like a shooting star. Without the GU refinement burdening his thoughts, he had a lot of usable strength now. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable attacked again while Fang Yuan retreated. Fang Yuan, let's cooperate to attack him. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable reminded. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable also stared at Fang Yuan intently. He used luck path methods unceasingly to try and see how much immortal essence Fang Yuan still had. Fang Yuan snorted coldly, his expression was livid as he said angrily, "Are you two bullying me because of my age? We were all meant to attack together, but I ended up facing the brunt of his attacks. Not only did you two not help me, you even let Spectral Soul Demon Venerable go off while you watched this by the sidelines. Is this your so-called cooperation?" Saying so, he activated a compound killer move as yellowish-brown light shot out to block Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's attack. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was silent before smiling and saying, "Fang Yuan, you are mistaken. Even though we cooperated, our Dao marks conflict, making a move would have had negative effects instead." Saying this, she waved her hand as a large amount of stardust landed on Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, breaking several hundred of his arms. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable also took action, golden light descended like sand and grinded away at Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's luck. Fang Yuan relaxed his mind at this moment, he sighed to himself as he thought, this obscured heavenly secret killer move is really useful. The situation earlier was simply too perilous. As long as the two Venerables sensed something wrong with Fang Yuan, they would attack him without restraint. But at that worst timing, he had too little immortal essence and could not fight them. If they attacked him, Fang Yuan would have no choice but to try and run. Even though Fang Yuan did not have the white heavenly spirit anymore, this was still a worthwhile trade-off. Even with all of Fang Yuan's methods, it was only because he expended the white heavenly spirit that he could deceive both Venerables at such a close range. But Fang Yuan did not know how long he could continue to deceive them. As Spectral Soul Demon Venerable roared, he activated Burning Soul Bursting Luck to block Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's golden sand. But Spectral Soul Demon Venerable still charged at Fang Yuan. Because Fang Yuan destroyed the white heavenly spirit, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable bore huge hatred towards him. Fang Yuan snorted coldly, he did not fight back with force, he flew towards Star Constellation Immortal Venerable instead. The three Venerables fought against Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, they had their own positions that were far away from each other. But now, Fang Yuan and Spectral Soul Demon Venerable moved quickly, they got close to her rapidly. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted coldly as starlight flew out of her mouth and rained down like a storm. The starlight rain surrounded Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's body like a river while shooting stars of various sizes shot out of the ripples. Instantly, countless flying stars appeared in the battlefield, it was a dazzling sight. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had such a move to summon so many stardust specks in a short period of time, Fang Yuan shook internally. These stardust specks were harmless to him. He only had to wipe them to refine all of these star marks. He had the perfect counter to this combat system. But Spectral Soul Demon Venerable could not do that. Because he was not sane, after getting hit by the stardust specks, his body became covered in injuries. He roared angrily, but his injuries accumulated. Good chance. Fang Yuan turned around and fought again. He unleashed another killer move. This was a refinement path method. The killer move shined with intense radiance, enveloping Spectral Soul Demon Venerable and eroding his soul beast body wherever the light went. But Star Constellation Immortal Venerable frowned deeply as she shouted, "Fang Yuan, what are you trying to do?" The reason was that although Fang Yuan hurt Spectral Soul Demon Venerable with this move, the refinement path killer move was also used on the star path Dao marks. Fang Yuan got rid of over half the star marks that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable accumulated over this time. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable benefited from this and went back to a relaxed state. A small blunder, it is just a mistake. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. After a few rounds went by, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable also frowned. He spoke with a tone of anger. "Fang Yuan, what are your true intentions?" Fang Yuan said innocently, "I am trying to attack Spectral Soul Demon Venerable along with you. But we have conflicting Dao marks, and a lack of cooperation normally. This will get better if we continue to fight." Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted coldly together. Fang Yuan was doing this on purpose. He was acting like a nuisance, disrupting Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's attacks. After a few more rounds, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable shouted angrily, "Fang Yuan, enough is enough. The immemorial soul beasts you released are all countered by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable." After devouring them, he recovered by 30%. Fang Yuan rubbed his nose. "I did not know that he had such methods." Saying so, he brought out a few more immemorial soul beasts. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's eyes shined with starlight specks. She stared at Fang Yuan and said in an icy cold tone, "You are still letting more out." Fang Yuan smiled plainly. "Star Constellation, don't worry, I used a method on these immemorial soul beasts. This is part of my plan. Just watch." Not long after, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable saw that Spectral Soul Demon Venerable's injuries were recovering even more rapidly. His mental energy also recovered as well. Before the two Venerables questioned him, Fang Yuan rubbed his nose. "Oh, it seems that my plan failed." Giant Sun Immortal Venerable stayed silent while Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wanted to speak, but Fang Yuan suddenly snorted coldly, "Give me a minute, I need to prepare a powerful method." Saying so, he flew up to the sky and looked down at the battlefield. The two Venerables looked at each other before taking action to obstruct Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. After Fang Yuan's preparation, a huge field of fire clouds appeared above him. From them, flaming meteors descended. They were all around the size of mountains. There was a long trail behind them as they crashed into Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Following his instincts, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable roared towards the sky, but he saw that these meteors flew past him without landing on him at all. Countless meteors flew across the battlefield, descending rapidly. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's expression turned colder as her eyes sparked like lightning. Star Constellation chessboard appeared above her head. A large number of pieces flew out of the chessboard and hit the flaming meteors rapidly, destroying them. Fang Yuan was confused. "Star Constellation, what are you doing? These flaming meteors are very useful to me. I have a second move to use with them." Star Constellation Immortal Venerable gritted her teeth. "If I did not stop them, these meteors would have pierced the heavenly wind chi wall and landed in Central Continent." Fang Yuan smiled coldly. "Star Constellation, we are trying to kill a Venerable. Are you unwilling to pay a small price like this? If this happened in Eastern Sea, I would not have interfered. With this level of sincerity, you think we can kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable today?" Star Constellation Immortal Venerable stared at Fang Yuan. "Fang Yuan, don't go overboard. Among the three of us, who do you think has the least sincerity?" Fang Yuan's expression also turned cold. "Star Constellation, do you think I am such a person? To kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, I gave you multiple Immortal GU and even lost my Heaven Form killer move." Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable were speechless. It was clearly Fang Yuan's poor planning that got him targeted. He was too weak and unable to protect his rank 9 killer move, but now, from his tone, he wanted to seek compensation from them. How could that be possible? Giant Sun Immortal Venerable spoke. "Fang Yuan, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable is targeting you. The two of us are helping you to deal with Spectral Soul Demon Venerable now." But Fang Yuan laughed heartily. "Do I need your help? I can easily take care of this. You two can return to Longevity Heaven and Heavenly Court. I will fight against Spectral Soul Demon Venerable in Central Continent and Northern Plains to the best of my abilities, and I will take his life in the end. Just Spectral Soul alone is nothing to fear. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2236 Secretly Unsealing Truthful Floating Ice. Chapter 2236 Secretly Unsealing Truthful Floating Ice. Fang Yuan said while unsealing more immemorial soul beasts. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable moved rapidly, grabbing these immemorial soul beasts and devouring them into his stomach. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's eyelids were twitching while Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's expression turned dark. Earlier, Fang Yuan emphasized on the words, Central Continent, Northern Plains. He was clearly using these regions to threaten them. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable suggested that they should kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, regardless of her motive. This suggestion itself was a good one. But because of Fang Yuan's actions, he was clearly disrupting the two Venerables and using it as a threat to extort something from them to make up for his losses this time. The two Venerables smiled coldly to themselves. They understood why he would do this. If they placed themselves in Fang Yuan's perspective, they would do the same thing. After all, Fang Yuan was a new Venerable. He did not have a deep foundation like the other two. He lacked immortal essence as well. These reasons caused him to lag behind the two Venerables. If they fought against Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, he would face the greatest risk. Even if Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was killed, in terms of snatching battle spoils, because Fang Yuan lacked immortal essence and would not be able to last longer in combat, it was likely that he could not outdo these two Venerables. In fact, after they kill Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, if he runs out of immortal essence, the two of them would attack him immediately. Fighting in this situation was very disadvantageous to Fang Yuan. As for the two Venerables, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable secretly transmitted. Giant Sun, Heaven Refining Demon Venerable spent a lot of immortal essence to guard Heaven form. He is currently at his weakest. You know that he is a greater threat than Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Why don't we? Before Star Constellation Immortal Venerable finished, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable interrupted. Star Constellation, you can make a move first, I will support you. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted. Giant Sun, your words lack sincerity. Whoever attacked Fang Yuan first would face his retaliation first. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable said that nicely, but if Star Constellation Immortal Venerable attacked, would he still help? What was in his best interests was to watch Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Heaven Refining Demon Venerable fight it out. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wanted to work with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable to fight against Fang Yuan. The truth was, she felt more wary against Fang Yuan. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable also wanted to see Fang Yuan's death. They all knew that Fang Yuan had the least amount of immortal essence among them. But how low was low? They had to make sure of this quantity first. According to their investigative methods, Fang Yuan still had a portion of his immortal essence reserves. If either of the two Venerables wanted to kill Fang Yuan, they would need to pay a terrifying price. And in this situation with three Venerables, they simply could not take the risk. The two Venerables working together was the best choice for them. But Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not trust each other at all. They were also worried that if they forced Fang Yuan's hand, he might attack Central Continent and Northern Plains. Normally speaking, GU Immortals had their own unspoken rules. They would not attack mortals or GU Masters. This was something very disgraceful, especially for a Venerable. Their pride would not allow them to make such actions. But with Fang Yuan's principles and bottom line, he would not hesitate to do so. Both Venerables agreed on this point with no uncertainty. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was the most protective of his descendants. How could he allow Fang Yuan to slaughter them openly? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was the second Immortal King of Heavenly Court. How could she watch as Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects get destroyed by Fang Yuan? She would become a great sinner of Heavenly Court. Thus, both Venerables did not dare to act excessively. Sigh, now it seems that we cannot kill Fang Yuan or Spectral Soul Demon Venerable this time. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable sighed to herself. In that case, what's the point of wasting time here? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wanted to retreat now. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was thinking of the same thing. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable still felt some grudge towards Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. He transmitted to her secretly. I have to say, Star Constellation, if you really want to use Spectral Soul Demon Venerable to deal a blow to Fang Yuan, you should have stalled for more time so that he would waste more immortal essence on heaven form. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted coldly. The fusion of the two heavens was short and intense. Now is the most unstable moment. It is extremely hard to sustain heaven form. Fang Yuan is a refinement path venerable. With his ability, he should have been able to protect the killer move while resisting Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Who could have thought that he would resolutely sacrifice the white heavenly spirit and give up on this rank 9 killer move? Star Constellation Immortal Venerable showed an expression of pity. She did not know the truth. Fang Yuan had done his best at that time. The refinement of a rank 9 immortal GU took too much of his attention. He had no choice but to give up on heaven form. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable sighed as well. Star Constellation, don't you understand? Even though Fang Yuan is a demon, he is extremely cautious. He seems to be taking huge risks at times, but he is extremely vigilant inside. Although many of his actions seemed rash and risky, he had done so because of Spring-Autumn Cicada, he was greatly assured. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable snorted coldly. She did not want to talk with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable secretly anymore. She spoke out loud. In that case, forget about it. We'll meet again, everyone. Saying so, she turned around to leave. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable smiled at Fang Yuan and left just as quickly as her. Fang Yuan purposely moved slightly slower than them. He was stunned before retreating, but Spectral Soul Demon Venerable pursued him. Fang Yuan transmitted to the two Venerables. You two left so abruptly, you still want to talk about sincerity. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable has lost his sanity. Are you going to let him slaughter the innocent lives in the world? You two are so cruel, you are vicious people, how can you call yourselves Immortal Venerables? After Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable heard his words, they could not help but think of his mistakes earlier which helped to heal Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable kept quiet and did not reply. While Giant Sun Immortal Venerable smiled and said, Fang Yuan, we underestimated you in Crazed Demon Cave which resulted in your success. But now, you have to work harder. There is no need to say such things in the future. How can simple words affect the battle between Venerables? Powerless excuses will only sound like the expression of the weak. Good, good, good. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth and said these words forcefully before he went silent. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable bore deep hatred towards Fang Yuan. Even though the two Venerables left, he still chased Fang Yuan relentlessly. After Fang Yuan toyed around with him for some time, he used the same trick to activate a battlefield killer move and conceal himself again. After Spectral Soul Demon Venerable lost his target, he remained at the area and growled angrily, refusing to leave for a long time. Good, while Fang Yuan is trapped, I can use this chance to refine Heavenly Court's Wisdom Path Dao marks. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable returned to Heavenly Court and said in satisfaction as she saw this. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was still on the way back to Northern Plains. He thought, in this contest of 3 Venerables, Fang Yuan suffered the greatest losses. Not only did he lose the rank 9 killer move Heaven Form and several immortal GU, he also expended some immortal essence. If he was not crafty enough to help Spectral Soul Demon Venerable, he will be in a worse state. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's eyes shined with bright light. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had refined many Northern Plains Wisdom Path Dao marks. The size surpassed the Luck Path Dao marks that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable refined in Central Continent. The reason was because Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's emphasis was on Fang Yuan's Eastern Sea. Although he refined some Central Continent Luck Path Dao marks, the total quantity was only half of Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. But Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was not assured. After returning to Longevity Heaven, he used Luck Path investigative methods. With some buzzing sound, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable first checked Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's luck. It had gotten slightly stronger. He looked at Fang Yuan's luck. It was still the same broken furnace as earlier. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable then inspected his own luck and frowned lightly. Even though my luck grew stronger, the external threat has grown significantly. What is going on? Where is this threat coming from? There were too few things that could threaten a Venerable. Fang Yuan, no way. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable shook his head. The other Venerables, like the possible revival of Reckless Savage Demon Venerable or others. The most likely ones are from Heavenly Court. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable gained a lot this time, while Heavenly Court's 2 other Immortal Venerables have yet to revive. It seems that my greatest enemy is still Heavenly Court. In comparison, although Fang Yuan is a Venerable, his foundation is too thin. In the contest of venerables, one step behind will cause him to lag by many steps later. In the future, if we maintain our advantage, we can just guard against his possible retaliation. Currently, in terms of venerable battle strength, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable was the least threatening. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was the strongest, especially in Longevity Heaven. Using his previous life's Tao marks, he could forcefully inspect the luck of the other venerables. This was something that Star Constellation Immortal Venerable could not do. But in the outside world, without Longevity Heaven's luck path Tao marks, even if Giant Sun Immortal Venerable used similar methods, he could not reach such an effect. Maybe I can try to attack Heavenly Court. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable suddenly had such a thought. Once Star Constellation Immortal Venerable refines Heavenly Court's wisdom path Tao marks, she would receive a greater amplification than Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. This was because not only had Star Constellation Immortal Venerable contributed her own immortal aperture into it, all of the previous generation Wisdom Path GU Immortals had also done the same, becoming part of Heavenly Court's foundation. But Giant Sun Immortal Venerable soon shook his head, rejecting this idea. Firstly, he did not have Heaven form. The luck path method he used to invade Heavenly Court earlier had been dismantled, he could not get in easily anymore. Secondly, fighting against Heavenly Court's Star Constellation Immortal Venerable now would expend his immortal essence, it would allow Fang Yuan to catch up. In the contest of three venerables, neither can make a move easily. We need more situations like today's to truly claim victory. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable sighed. He did not stay in Longevity Heaven for long, he went back to Northern Plains to refine the luck path Tao marks. Fang Yuan was still trapped in the battlefield killer move. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had not left yet. But Fang Yuan was not anxious. I'll show weakness for a while longer to relax the two venerables' guard. But undoubtedly, this obscured heavenly secret killer move is so useful. This was not the first time Fang Yuan praised this move. Right now, obscured heavenly secret's temporary heaven path Tao marks were extremely dense, they were like a huge fishing net that wrapped around his entire body. Within the sovereign immortal aperture, after the first blooming of heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus, Fang Yuan gained 99 yellow apricot immortal essence beads. A flash of light sparked in Fang Yuan's eyes as yellow apricot immortal essence was rapidly expended. Soon, he activated a heaven path method. Using this heaven path killer move, he started to unseal the truthful floating ice that he obtained from Crazed Demon Cave. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2237 Heaven Path Master. Chapter 2237 Heaven Path Master. Inside the sovereign immortal aperture, the blue-white truthful floating ice was shrinking inch by inch. In the battle in Crazed Demon Cave, Fang Yuan obtained several pieces of truthful floating ice, among them, one was quite large. As yellow apricot immortal essence got rapidly expended, his heaven path Tao marks also grew in numbers rapidly. Fang Yuan's heaven path Tao marks had reached 240,000 already. After unsealing the truthful floating ice for 6 hours, his heaven path Tao marks grew by 60,000. 10,000 Tao marks per hour, it was quite a good gain. But this was not his own gain. Fang Yuan's rule path, wisdom path, transformation path, strength path, earth path, wood path, and others were rising. These paths correspond to Limitless Demon Venerable, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, Reckless Savage Demon Venerable, Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable, Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. These venerables all went into the 8th layer of Crazed Demon Cave, they had their respective investments. No, that's not all. After unsealing the truthful floating ice for 16 hours, Fang Yuan found that his other paths, attainment levels were rising too. But the growth in the other paths was much smaller and almost unobservable. Only after a long time and with sufficient accumulation could there be any significant changes. Among all the paths, the attainment level that rose the most was Heaven Path. Fang Yuan's foundation in Heaven Path was actually very weak. He had only cultivated it for a short time after all. All of his foundation were obtained from predecessors, for example, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable's human executing heaven's work, or Limitless Demon Venerable's unrestrained heavenly mark killer move. Several days later in Sovereign Immortal Aperture, his Heaven Path Tao marks grew to 1,200,000. His Heaven Path attainment level went all the way from ordinary to master level. Fang Yuan stopped for now. He had expended over 100 yellow apricot immortal essence beads. If Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus had not bloomed once more during this period, Fang Yuan would not be able to keep up the expenditure. I need to save some immortal essence in case of a venerable battle. Fang Yuan carefully assessed his gains. The Heaven Path Master attainment level gave him a comprehensive growth. Regarding his Heaven Path GU recipes, killer moves, and the understanding of the Heavenly Tao, he had renewed insight and even deeper comprehension. The most crucial thing was the conflict of Tao marks. His earlier intuition was not wrong. After becoming a Heaven Path Master, he would be able to create a conflict Tao mark method to completely solve the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's problem. The Sovereign Immortal Aperture had many different phenomena occurring. The origin was because of the non-conflicting Tao marks, they had fused too easily. Once conflict arose, Sovereign Immortal Aperture would be elevated to a new level, it would regain peace. Fang Yuan immediately used Wisdom Path methods to fully deduce the relevant killer move. Several days passed. Fang Yuan stored the battlefield killer move and left the immemorial two heavens. Spectral Soul Demon Venerable stayed for a long time but eventually gave up. Now, he was rampaging in the immemorial two heavens while eating soul beast armies and also fighting against the sun. Fang Yuan had no heaven form killer move left, he could not sense Spectral Soul Demon Venerable who was far away. But Fang Yuan got back to Eastern Sea successfully. He landed deep in Eastern Sea and started to refine the natural refinement path Tao marks of Eastern Sea. At once, profound light surged as rank 9 aura spread like a tornado to the surroundings, the countless lifeforms nearby fled in fear. Song Clan's GU Immortals were the first ones alerted. After seeing this, they understood. Great Love Immortal Venerable was refining the natural refinement path Tao marks. Song Clan's first Supreme Elder quickly gathered the GU Immortals to discuss the matter. They wanted to meet Fang Yuan and offer him a gift. After all, Fang Yuan was currently in Song Clan's territory. However, they were soon informed by Wu Shuai that the members of the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance were not allowed to disturb Great Love Immortal Venerable now. Song Clan's members signed in relief but they also felt disappointed. While Fang Yuan refined the natural Tao marks, he also continued deducing his Heaven Path killer moves. Not long after, he gained some results. But Fang Yuan was not satisfied yet. This newly deduced Heaven Path killer move was not much different from Paradise Earth's Heavenly Summary Earthly Norm. Heavenly Summary Earthly Norm was able to arrange Heaven Path Tao marks to allow the target to recover to their normal condition. It was the counter to battlefield killer moves. Fang Yuan's deductions allowed Heavenly Summary Earthly Norm to go one step further. When used in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture, it could allow the environment of the Immortal Aperture to change into the environment of the 5 regions and 2 heavens. The natural Tao marks of the 5 regions and 2 heavens were definitely conflicting. Thus, after converting them, the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's Tao marks would also conflict. If I use this killer move hundreds or thousands of times, my Sovereign Immortal Aperture will become like the 5 regions and 2 heavens, it will no longer have any strange phenomena. But in that case, I will lose my advantage of non-conflicting Tao marks, the losses will be too severe and I cannot cultivate all paths again. That was a cost Fang Yuan could not accept. Looking at the Sovereign Immortal Aperture's advantage and its abnormal phenomena, the former was naturally more important. Can't the conflict appear and disappear according to my will? Segregating the locations of conflicting Tao marks like the time path zones. Fang Yuan sighed internally. He had no idea on how to start realizing this concept. Maybe when his Heaven Path attainment level reaches Great Grand Master or higher, he might be able to achieve this. This time, Fang Yuan did not have any intuition regarding this, he could not be certain. Speaking of which, Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU is a human path rank 9 Immortal GU. To resolve my current problem, maybe I should target human path instead. Fang Yuan had a flash of inspiration, he saw a new direction to move towards. He had found the solution in terms of Heaven Path, but the price to pay was something that Fang Yuan could not accept. Would human path work? Back then, to refine Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable sacrificed the 10 extreme physiques. Speaking of human path research results, Fang Yuan thought of his clone who was trapped in Divine Emperor City. After Shen Sheng broke out of Divine Emperor City, he only brought back news of the clone who was still lurking inside Divine Emperor City. In the current world, Shen Sheng is definitely one of the top human path experts. If I want to get his human path research results, what sort of price should I pay? Heavenly Court. Oh, Fang Yuan left the 2 heavens and went back to Eastern Sea. He has started refining natural Tao marks. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable soon heard of Fang Yuan's actions. Even though he has the least immortal essence, he became venerable through refinement path. In terms of refining Tao marks, it should be his expertise. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was very concerned with Fang Yuan's speed of refining Tao marks. If Fang Yuan's efficiency was too high, she would join up with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable to deal with Fang Yuan together. Otherwise, if he surpassed them in this aspect, it would be a huge problem for Star Constellation Immortal Venerable and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable did not want to think about Spectral Soul Demon Venerable now. The contest of 3 Venerables had reached a new stage. Whichever Venerable refined the most natural Dao marks would have the greatest advantage. When refining the Dao marks, I can multitask by modifying killer moves and changing my combat system. This will grant me an advantage in the future fight between the Venerables. Star Eyes, Star Thought, Permanence. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable stared at these 3 immortal GU in her immortal aperture as her gaze became focused. After obtaining them from Fang Yuan, she had already inspected them 100 times but found no problems. Yet, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable was still a little suspicious. She was not a refinement path Venerable after all, although she had some achievements in refinement path, she could not compare to Fang Yuan at all, this was undeniable. It was like asking Fang Yuan to compare with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable in wisdom path, they were not on the same level. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable had spent 100 years of time to refine rank 9 wisdom GU in her previous life. Even if I find no issues with them, this does not mean that Fang Yuan did not tamper with them. But this possibility is quite small. I also have to use these immortal GU no matter what. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable decided to take a risk. She cultivated wisdom path primarily with star path secondarily, her combat system revolved around these 2 paths. But currently, her main method, the Stardust Killer move, was countered by Fang Yuan. If Star Constellation Immortal Venerable wanted to gain an advantage in their future fight, she would need to modify it greatly. In her modification plan, Star Thought GU, Star Eyes GU, and Permanence GU had a huge role to play. Otherwise, why would Star Constellation Immortal Venerable request for Fang Yuan to make them? Longevity Heaven, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable retracted his gaze from Eastern Sea. Now, I need to pay attention to Fang Yuan's refinement progress. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable reminded himself while checking his own immortal essence reserves. He only had over 500 yellow apricot immortal essence beads left. The refinement of natural Dao marks expended a lot of immortal essence. Longevity Heaven could not produce immortal essence, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was relying on his own rank 9 immortal aperture, the production speed was similar to Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Be it Longevity Heaven or Heavenly Court, the revived 2 Venerables were on the same level as Fang Yuan, they had not gone through the first chaotic disaster. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture has immense foundation far surpassing me in Star Constellation. Thus, using the same amount of time, he can produce more immortal essence than us. Also, he has a large number of blood path immortal GU. Thinking of this, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's expression turned a little dark. He cultivated luck path mainly with blood path on the side, he naturally needed a lot of blood path immortal GU. But Fang Yuan had refined many of them already, although they were kept at rank 6, immortal GU were unique. This ruined many of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's wonderful plans. Earlier, when guarding Heaven form, Fang Yuan negotiated with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, he used these blood path immortal GU as the bargaining chip to haggle with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable managed to get 3 immortal GU from Fang Yuan, but Giant Sun Immortal Venerable got none. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was brooding over this. Star Constellation Immortal Venerable knows that Fang Yuan has the sovereign immortal aperture, as long as the latter's refinement speed is fast, I will contact her. It is unlikely that she will reject my offer to work together. By then, I will work with Star Constellation Immortal Venerable to fight against Fang Yuan again. While expending his immortal essence, I can also extort those blood path immortal GU from him. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable made various plans. He did not know that Fang Yuan was in possession of Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, thus, he was more wary of Heavenly Court now. But now, there was no opportunity for him to attack Heavenly Court or Star Constellation Immortal Venerable. Fang Yuan's possession of those blood path immortal GU also greatly hindered his own blood path cultivation. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2238 Sunken Fish, Song Yi Shi. Chapter 2238, Sunken Fish, Song Yi Shi. With the fusion of both heavens, the surface of the sea became light and dark at alternate times. The sun and moon appeared together, all living beings were sent into chaos. In addition to the reign of 3 venerables, this was an unprecedented situation. As tides ebbed and flowed, winds blew gently as Fang Yuan sat on a cloud, he slowly opened his eyes. He had already spent some time refining Eastern Sea's refinement path Dao marks, he had some insight now. Currently, he had already refined over half of Song Clan's territory in terms of refinement path Dao marks. The range had spread to Poetic Emotion Sea area in the northwest, and also Ascending Heaven Plain in the southeast. All the refinement path Dao marks in this area belonged to Fang Yuan. Currently, even without shutting his eyes, Fang Yuan could sense many things related to refinement path. He had an extremely clear understanding of the quantity and distribution of refinement path Dao marks in this area. All sorts of refinement path GU materials deep under the sea, the fish and shrimps that contained refinement path Dao marks, even the location of aquatic plants and others could be sensed by him. Currently, Fang Yuan had many thoughts in his mind, he needed to test them. He willed and stopped the refinement of Dao marks, instead, he used an investigative killer move. At the next moment, his gaze pierced through the sea and went thousands of li deep, seeing a huge fish. This fish was as large as a building with 5 to 6 stories of height. The fish had a sharp front and back, with a thick middle section, it was like a shuttle. The scales were gray-black and did not shine, they had a rough texture that felt like gravel. This was a sunken fish, it contained rule path and refinement path Dao marks. The sunken fish was at least an ancient desolate beast, there were also immemorial desolate beasts among them. Fang Yuan was looking at an immemorial desolate beast sunken fish. The sunken fish had a special trait. Every few years, it would move its tail and come to the surface to breathe fresh air, that would cause it to be swept by the currents. And because it was heavy, it would continuously sink to the bottom while the currents moved it away. Whenever it moved its tail and exerted force to reach the surface, the scales of the sunken fish would fall off its body in the process. After it breathed enough fresh air, scales would grow on it again and it would become motionless, floating with the currents while sinking downwards. These scales that fell off its body seemed heavy but they were light and delicate, most would float to the surface of the sea. After a long time, these scales would be swept ashore, GU masters would pick them up and treat them as treasure. The sunken fish scales were crucial GU materials to refine beauty GU, they had high value. On this point, they were like the feathers of the falling goose. But to refine beauty immortal GU, I will need to use both immortal materials, sunken fish scales and falling goose feathers. While looking at this sunken fish, Fang Yuan's lips curled into a faint smile. He had the same sensation as earlier when he refined Dao marks. If I refine the refinement path Dao marks in the sunken fish's body, what would happen? Fang Yuan had refined the Dao marks of the natural world earlier, it did not include the Dao marks of lifeforms like the sunken fish. Fang Yuan tried it out immediately, he chose a refinement path killer move and modified it a little to allow him to forcefully refine this sunken fish from a far distance. The forceful refinement had just started when the lazy sunken fish jolted like it was shocked by lightning, it moved its tail quickly and tried to swim far away. It erupted with speed that did not match its huge size, a huge current was formed in the sea because of the force generated. Where are you going? Fang Yuan snorted coldly, he activated another method. The sunken fish immediately stopped moving while Fang Yuan forcefully refined all of its refinement path Dao marks. After the refinement, Fang Yuan's sensation of the sunken fish became several times clearer. Fang Yuan let go of the restraint as the sunken fish regained freedom, but its emotions were very negative, there were fear, anger, numbness, sadness, and others, it was as if the fish was undergoing a turmoil and could not continue living its life. What happened? Fang Yuan slowly observed the sunken fish, he saw that it had stopped eating food. The food of the sunken fish was not seaweed or fish, it was underwater sea soil. Every few years, the scales on the fish would turn into ordinary GU materials or fall off on their own, they could not ensure its safety. Thus, it would sink to the bottom and eat a large amount of soil. This sunken fish that Fang Yuan tortured had lost most of its scales. Normally speaking, it should sink to the bottom of the sea and eat soil now. Did it lose the will to live after I brutally did that? Fang Yuan shook his head, he quickly used a wisdom path method. After some deductions, he understood the reason. The sunken fish ate sea soil to fill its stomach, but also to produce more scales. The source that produced its scales were the refinement path Dao marks on its body. Because of these refinement path Dao marks, it could digest the sea soil and draw nutrients from them, converting them into thick immortal material scales. But now, all of its refinement path Dao marks were refined by Fang Yuan, it lost this ability. Thus, even though it lacked scales, it did not attempt to eat sea soil. In order to test his findings, Fang Yuan used a food path killer move on this immemorial sunken fish. Soon, the sunken fish got hungry. This time, it chose to eat the sea soil. But good times did not last. Soil soon accumulated in its stomach but could not be digested quickly. If Fang Yuan did not dispel the food path killer move in time, the immemorial sunken fish would have died from stuffing itself with sea soil without being able to digest it. Fang Yuan used just a few methods to completely cripple an immemorial desolate beast. What if I return the Tao marks to it? Fang Yuan started to deduce again. He soon made a refinement path killer move that had an accompanying wisdom path killer move. Fang Yuan first used the wisdom path killer move to raise the mood of the sunken fish and started to guide it. Next, he used a refinement path method to teach the sunken fish to refine all of its refinement path Tao marks. Not long after, the sunken fish regained its refinement path Tao marks, light returned to its eyes as its life became less bleak, the negative emotions also left it. It quickly refined the sea soil in its body and turned them into immortal material fish scales. Fang Yuan nodded. This result was in line with his guess. Next, he refined the refinement path Tao marks of the immemorial sunken fish again. The sunken fish. It fell into a state of intense and complex emotions like numbness, fear, anger, and shock. Fang Yuan used brute force to chase it away to the bottom of the sea, which had fewer refinement path Tao marks that Fang Yuan had already refined. As he expected, his sensation of this immemorial sunken fish became much weaker. But when Fang Yuan placed this immemorial sunken fish to a place with more refinement path Tao marks, his connection to the sunken fish became much clearer and stable. Fang Yuan waved his hand, seawater erupted, the refinement path Tao marks within 1 li were all destroyed by him. In his sensation, this place became somewhat like a black hole. After Fang Yuan placed the immemorial sunken fish into this black hole, he could not sense the sunken fish at all. This proves that my refinement path sensation is extended through the Tao marks. This is like how a spider uses its webs. Fang Yuan's refinement path sensation was limited to the areas where he had refined Tao marks. These last days, he stayed in the deepest part of Eastern Sea and built his own spider web. If he or his prey left the range of the web, then he would not be able to sense anything. Fang Yuan felt quite satisfied about this discovery. Because Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had also refined a portion of Eastern Sea's luck path Tao marks. As long as Giant Sun Immortal Venerable did not personally interact with this area of luck path Tao marks, he would not have any luck path sensation, he would not be able to use the Tao marks to do anything. Of course, I cannot rule out the possibility that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable has immortal killer moves that can allow him to bypass distance and make use of the luck path Tao marks he refined in Eastern Sea. Fang Yuan reminded himself. After confirming many guesses, Fang Yuan had a lot of gains. He did the same thing again and returned the immemorial sunken fish's Tao marks to it. After that, he stopped torturing the poor fish and let it swim away in fear and panic. Fang Yuan fell into deep thought. Even though refinement path Tao marks are present all over the 5 regions and 2 heavens, they are not evenly distributed. Some areas have more Tao marks while others have fewer. For me, the more abundant the refinement path Tao marks, the better. In that case, after I refine these Tao marks, my refinement path sensation will get stronger. When fighting or refining GU in such an environment, the amplification will be huge. What was this situation? Fang Yuan's expression changed slightly. He could sense an intense refinement path fluctuation from far away. Poetic emotion C area. Fang Yuan immediately used his investigative method and saw through the truth. He quickly found the source of the refinement path fluctuation. It was Song Yi Shi. Poetic emotion C area was the territory of Song Yi Shi. She had built a palace in the underwater volcano. Currently, she was cultivating in her palace. Her clothes were all taken off, exposing her snow-white flesh and slender figure. She was activating a water path killer move. Endless steam was produced. The steam covered her entire body, making her beautiful face even more alluring than normal. Fang Yuan understood at once. So that's it. He immediately deciphered that Song Yi Shi was practicing her water path defensive killer move. Eastern Sea's Song clan specialized in water path. They had a signature water path inheritance called flowing water. This inheritance had defensive killer moves like non-corroding flowing water, emotionless flowing water, flowering flowing water and others. They guarded against poison path, wisdom path, and wood path respectively. There were also killer moves like flowing water carriage for movement, thin flowing water that reduced immortal essence expenditure, flowing water wine party that mimicked food path effect, or moving cloud flowing water that helped with killer move activation. Song Yishi is currently using non-corroding flowing water. This is a passive defensive method. The essence is to carve water path defensive killer move on the body. Once a poison path attack lands, it will activate on its own. This is a form of GU refinement in essence, except that the target is the GU Immortal's physical body. No wonder I can sense it. Fang Yuan realized and took a close look. He had incredible attainment levels. He was a Supreme Grand Master in Refinement Path and a Great Grand Master in Water Path. After looking for a while, he deciphered all of the profundities of non-corroding flowing water. Fang Yuan gained some interest. It was a great opportunity. He had new ideas to test out. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2239 Same Origin. Chapter 2239, Same Origin. Song Yishi cultivated for 6 hours before stopping her killer move. She let out a breath of air and opened her eyes. She saw that a lump of steam that was vague and illusory flowed from her arms to her legs, finally stopping at her chest. Song Yishi looked at the steam and felt joyful internally. At this rate, I can complete my cultivation of this non-corroding flowing water killer move in half a month. Strange, why did this cultivation session feel more effective than before? Is it just me? Song Yishi shook her head slightly. She inspected her immortal essence. There was little immortal essence left. She also lacked immortal essence stones now. Sigh, Heavenly Court is the source of immortal essence stones. Once they stopped distributing those, the entire market's immortal essence stones fell greatly in number. I have grandfather's help in secret, but all other GU immortals should be having a tougher time. Song Yishi sighed to herself. If she had enough immortal essence stones, she would use them to replenish her immortal essence now to continue cultivating the non-corroding flowing water killer move. But now, she had to slow down and let her immortal essence produce immortal essence naturally. After it accumulates to a degree, she could resume her cultivation. After I complete the non-corroding flowing water killer move, I will move on to emotionless flowing water. My clan's flowing water inheritance is our signature inheritance. It is renowned in Eastern Sea, being quite exceptional even in the 5 regions. Passive defensive killer moves are rare to begin with. Normally speaking, GU immortals can only cultivate one of them. They cannot stack many passive defensive killer moves. But my clan's flowing water inheritance has a unique concept. It is ingenious. By using the same core, we can stack passive defensive killer moves. Thinking of this, Song Yishi felt a little proud of her background. But soon, such emotions vanished. Sigh, I am still far from success. After completing emotionless flowing water, I will undergo tribulation and reach rank 7. With the contest of 3 venerables and the fusion of 2 heavens, the 5 regions' chaotic war may erupt at any time. Song Yishi was originally the prized jewel of her clan. She was doted on by her grandfather and received the support of the clan, having no lack of resources. Her incredible appearance also made her one of the 6 beauties of Eastern Sea. But her carefree life could no longer return. The situation was changing too rapidly. Song Yishi felt no sense of assurance at all. Currently, all of Eastern Sea's righteous path super forces had joined Fang Yuan's side. This was something unimaginable in the past. The external pressure forced Song Yishi, this prized jewel, to have an intense urge to cultivate. Especially when Song clan's first supreme elder, Song Qiyuan, who was also her grandfather, gave Song Yishi some exciting news. In the letter, Song Qiyuan nagged endlessly before mentioning the orders of the Heaven and Earth Great Love Alliance. They were going to pick a number of merfolk GU immortals from the Merman Imperial Court to live in sovereign immortal aperture. Even though Fang Yuan did not specify the ratio of male to female he wanted, the Merman Imperial Court purposely chose some female immortals with the most beautiful appearances and elegant demeanors. In addition, Fang Yuan had never been known to have any love interests. He had always faced great external pressure all the way until he became a venerable. Now that he could rival Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven, his pressure fell immensely. Along this train of thought, Song Qiyuan mentioned Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Back then, after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable became venerable, he took in all the beauties of the world and created 5 harem palaces. Afterwards, he mentioned the other venerables. All the 10 venerables had partners in their lives, only the number was different. Even the unmarried star constellation Immortal Venerable had once been in love. It involved a certain variant human GU immortal. Song Qiyuan vaguely suggested an idea in order to probe the intention of his beloved granddaughter. If Great Love Immortal Venerable wants to choose a wife or concubine, will Song clan offer me to him? Initially, Song Yishi was very angry. But a few days later, She calmed down and thought about it rationally. Grandfather will not force me, he is only raising this possibility and wants to see if I am willing to do so. However, if Great Love Immortal Venerable orders this personally like Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and wants to collect beauties, how can I escape? How can Song clan protect me? Song Yishi, who had always been proud as a crane, felt bitter and helpless internally after she realized this. If such a situation occurs, I cannot burden this clan which nurtured and raised me. Grandfather loves me so deeply, he funded me and gave me water clothing Immortal GU secretly. If not for this Immortal GU, how could I have modified the killer move and successfully cultivated the flowing water inheritance? How can I repay him? How can I let my unwillingness lead to Song clan's extermination? How can I be this selfish? Song Yishi thought of this and felt a deep sense of guilt internally. Along this thought, she thought of the deeper aspect. If Great Love Immortal Venerable has such intentions, for the sake of the clan, I need to offer myself to him. Why should I wait until then? Why can't I go further and take the initiative instead? If I can succeed, by just sacrificing myself, I will ensure the prosperity of Song clan for countless years. Sigh, I'll stop thinking about this. Fang Yuan did not know that just one order from him led to such distorted thoughts of his subordinates. In fact, Fang Yuan did not know that Song Yishi was having complex emotions now. He was looking at his recent gains. When Song Yishi cultivated, Fang Yuan had secretly used methods through the refinement path Dao marks in poetic emotion C area to help her out. Fang Yuan gave it a simple try. The effort was as mild as breathing, but Song Yishi's cultivation gains rose by at least 10%. If I use my full effort, Song Yishi's cultivation efficiency will rise by tens of times. She is undergoing water path cultivation, because it is a passive defensive method, it has something to do with refinement path. If this were a genuine GU refinement attempt, my influence would be even greater. This means that I can use refinement path to help others refine GU. At the same time, I can also ruin their attempts. Or at least, without my permission, nobody can refine an immortal GU in my refinement path Dao mark domain. This was terrifying. The power of a venerable was displayed at its fullest. Fang Yuan was overjoyed, but he also had a heavy mood. If his refinement path could have such an influence, it meant that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable would have the same influence in Luck Path and Wisdom Path. If I refine all the refinement path Dao marks in the 5 regions and 2 heavens, while invigilating the world at all times, if any GU Immortal tries to refine Immortal GU, I will be able to ruin the attempt. In that case, can I make it such that only my faction can refine Immortal GU? Fang Yuan thought of this problem. But soon, he shook his head. If GU Immortals refined GU in their own immortal apertures, Fang Yuan could not influence them. Because immortal apertures were isolated worlds of their own. But if a GU Immortal refined GU outside, Fang Yuan would be able to sense and influence it. Putting aside the issue of Song Yishi, Fang Yuan placed his attention on a certain coral group deep in the sea. These corals contained abundant refinement path GU materials. They were a natural refinement path resource point of heaven and earth. They had very high value but had not been discovered by anyone. Fang Yuan pondered and searched meticulously. He used time path killer moves to observe the formation of this coral group. Why did such a refinement path resource point form? Thousands of years ago, there was nothing here. But a sunken fish died here. The refinement path and rule path Dao marks of the sunken fish spread out and influenced the surroundings. After a few hundred years, the sunken fish's corpse decomposed entirely, while the environment also stabilized. Initially, all sorts of fish and shrimps came here in groups. Afterwards, middle-sized and large-sized beasts also moved here. The sea currents were turbulent, causing seeds and corals to be swept over. After thousands of years of development and natural selection, due to lucky opportunities and evolution, this resource point was created now. Fang Yuan's focus was on the refinement path Dao marks of the coral group. For thousands of years, the refinement path Dao marks here had been increasing and decreasing, being extremely unstable. Eventually, the group grew to this size. As long as I replicate the development of this refinement path resource point, with enough time, I can create such a refinement path resource point anywhere in the sovereign immortal aperture. Of course, there was an easier method, which was to directly create a refinement path formation and consume immortal materials to create an environment that was similar to this coral resource point. But this method needed the formation to have some immortal GU, it also expended immortal essence. Meanwhile, creating a refinement path resource point through a naturally developed Dao mark distribution would not expend immortal essence or require immortal GU. In truth, Fang Yuan had always been using the latter method for his development of the sovereign immortal aperture. By setting up immortal formations everywhere, he instantly created resource points. For example, the earth vein nodes and water vein nodes were all formations that he created. These formations not only used immortal GU, there were also formations that used immortal resources as the core. This was a quick method that needed very little time, but the cost was very high. While natural development had low costs, no immortal GU was needed, while immortal materials were slowly accumulated naturally, but the time needed was too long. No matter which method it is, they have the same origin, they are all just killer moves. Immortal formations were killer moves, while naturally derived Dalmark distribution was also a type of passive killer move. It was just that this killer move was not defensive but was used to develop an environment. Wait, Fang Yuan thought of the killer moves Divine Concealment, Ghostly Concealment, and Spaceless Tunnel. Divine Concealment and Ghostly Concealment both created thick and dense clothing of Dalmarks on the soul, they were like tightly weaved silk clothing. They did not expend immortal essence and were passive defensive killer moves. Additionally, Spaceless Tunnel was created by Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable as well. It was used in various places of the 5 regions and 2 heavens, shortening travel distance. This killer move from 300,000 years ago was still active now, but with the fusion of 2 heavens, it should have already been mostly destroyed. The essence of these killer moves has no difference from the coral resource point. Fang Yuan thought of fortune rivaling heaven immortal GU. This immortal GU was a consumable GU that could give the GU immortal immense luck to rival the heavens after use, no longer consuming immortal essence anymore. What was the difference in essence between it and the coral resource point? Fang Yuan then thought of the incomplete refinement sea. This was the refinement path secluded domain of heaven and earth that Lang Ya land spirit wanted to create with all his effort. What is a secluded domain of heaven and earth? It is merely an agglomeration of Dalmarks of a specific path to form a certain special effect. Danghun Mountain produces Guts GU, while Qian Kun Crystal Wall can reflect everything that happens in this world. Secluded domains of heaven and earth are the extreme form of resource points, they are also the other aspect of GU worms and killer moves. Thus, everything has the same point of origin. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2240 Refinement Main, Heaven Specialty. Chapter 2240, Refinement Main, Heaven Specialty. Knowledge obtained from theory always feels shallow, one needs practice to understand it completely. Fang Yuan muttered to himself. Understanding that all things had the same point of origin was one matter, putting it into practice was another. Fang Yuan completely comprehended the essence of killer moves like Divine Concealment and Ghostly Concealment, but he had done so through Refinement Path. Because of the limitation of Theft Path attainment level, he could not modify Ghostly Concealment yet. He had the ability to create Refinement Path killer moves similar to Divine Concealment and Ghostly Concealment, although it would be a difficult process and the price to pay would be great. During this period where the 3 Venerables contested, if Fang Yuan invested a lot of his time and energy into creating a top-tier Refinement Path killer move, it would be too risky. The timing and opportunity did not allow Fang Yuan to do so. However, the Refinement Path resource points of the 5 regions and 2 heavens had a lot of value to him as references. After Fang Yuan simplified them and took out the true core, he would be able to modify them into mature passive killer moves that could be used to develop the immortal aperture. Basically, these passive killer moves were very rare among killer moves, they had great value. The most common ones were defensive methods. Song Yishi's pride came from this reason. Duke Long only had one of such a move too, it was called 9 Dragons Protection. As far as Fang Yuan knew, Thieving Heaven Demon Venerable created no more than 5 of such killer moves like Divine Concealment and Ghostly Concealment in his life. The creation of a killer move starts with the use of multiple GU worms by a predecessor to gain experience gradually. The GU cultivation predecessors took reference to the innate abilities of the living beings in the 5 regions and 2 heavens to rapidly establish the foundation of killer moves. Until today, the GU cultivators had already hit the limit of this world. For example, Duke Long created the Dragonman race, Lang Ya land spirit created an artificial secluded domain, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable created soul beasts, he turned all sorts of soul path killer moves into Dalmarks that were carved onto soul beasts to grant them innate abilities. All of these accomplishments showed that GU cultivators had already rivaled the natural world, they were able to grasp the profundity of heaven and earth. And Limitless Demon Venerable went one step further. He made an arrangement in Crazed Demon Cave, breaking the world boundary to create a whole and even making brand new heaven path Tao marks. He had surpassed the entire GU cultivator world single-handedly. This was the first time Fang Yuan was refining the refinement path Tao marks of the outside world. With his Supreme Grand Master attainment level and manual practice, Fang Yuan gained a lot of insight. To conclude, the 5 regions and 2 heavens had a vast number of refinement path Tao marks, but they were not evenly distributed. Some places were dense while others were sparse. These refinement path Tao marks were very stable and hard to change. Normally speaking, their growth was extremely slow and needed a lot of time to accumulate. These refinement path Tao marks could be seen as the basis of the entire world's refinement path foundation. On this foundation, a large number of beasts, plants, and lifeless GU materials were produced and nurtured. These beasts and plants were related to refinement path, they were refinement path resources. Normally speaking, in places with dense refinement path Tao marks, the relevant resources would also be more abundant and high quality. In places with sparse refinement path Tao marks, there would be fewer refinement path resources and of lower quality. The refinement path Tao marks and resources had a deep influence on each other. For example, the coral group that Fang Yuan saw earlier was a refinement path resource point. The source was an immemorial sunken fish that died thousands of years ago, its refinement path Tao marks scattered in the surroundings and a portion was left behind in that location. The Tao marks that Fang Yuan refined here were the refinement path foundation of the world. Refinement path resources were not included in this. The natural Tao marks that Fang Yuan refined were like a huge spider web. As long as Fang Yuan was in range, he would be able to sense all refinement path activities within the web. This was the so-called refinement path sensation. Fang Yuan had a vague sensation of the refinement path resources, he could also sense the refinement path activities of GU cultivators. In places with dense refinement path Tao marks, the sensation would be more intense, stable, and clearer. For example, he would be able to find small-scale ordinary refinement path GU materials. Conversely, if the refinement path Tao marks were sparse, the refinement path sensation would be weaker. In those regions, Fang Yuan would only be able to sense refinement path immortal materials. If there was a hole in the spider web, or if a GU immortal refined GU in their immortal aperture, Fang Yuan would not sense anything. Using the refinement path Tao marks that he refined, Fang Yuan could influence everything in that range, he could interfere with the living beings as well as the natural environment. For example, he could help Song Yi Shi cultivate, strengthen refinement path resource points like the coral group, or even create a top-tier refinement path passive killer move like Spaceless Tunnel that could exist indefinitely. Simply using refinement path Tao marks to amplify his own strength was only the most basic use. From the angle of refinement path, in the entire GU cultivation world, the 5 regions and 2 heavens are just a giant immortal material. This immortal material comprises everything, it has Tao marks of all paths. Even though I became a refinement path venerable, I can only refine a portion of this huge immortal material. This is true for Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, Star Constellation Immortal Venerable, and all other venerables. Owning a portion of heaven and earth, this is what a Tao Lord entails. The other venerables are only able to become the Lord of one Tao, but I am different. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal body had non-conflicting Tao marks, he cultivated all paths. The other venerables could do one main path and one specialty path at best, their main path would become their venerable path, while their specialty path would be used to fight and compete. In theory, Fang Yuan could cultivate all the paths and become a venerable of all paths. This was the intention of Spectral Soul Demon Venerable when he spent all his effort to refine Sovereign Immortal Fetus GU. Fang Yuan had incomparable potential, the limit of his growth was unimaginable. The other venerables also know this, the only reason why they did not kill me is because I displayed incredible battle strength in Crazed Demon Cave. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable knew that the price to kill me was too great, they could not take the backlash. Fang Yuan did not continue to refine Tao marks. He decided to stop for now. Even though Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus had bloomed again in the Sovereign Immortal Aperture and gave him nearly 100 Immortal Essence Beads again. Even though he had all sorts of refinement path methods to raise his refinement efficiency by many times, far surpassing the venerables. This was obvious, refinement path most excelled in this aspect. In terms of refinement path, he far surpassed the other 2 venerables, this was the advantage of refinement path to begin with. However, I cannot display my advantage now, it will overly agitate those venerables. Fang Yuan thought to himself. Once he used his advantage, the 2 venerables would move. Although they felt that they had some advantage, if they saw that Fang Yuan's Dao mark refinement speed was so fast, they would not sit still, they would have to come and stop him. Fang Yuan was not afraid of getting attacked by them. After all, he had enough immortal essence reserves now. Although the quantity was not high, the two venerables could not kill him in a short time. As they fought, heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus would gradually accumulate an advantage for Fang Yuan. But there was no point in going this far. Most importantly, it would cause Fang Yuan's secret to be exposed, the existence of obscured heavenly secret. The loss was not worth the gain. Blindly using one's advantage was the biggest trap in life. Fang Yuan knew deeply that assessing the situation was most important. Next, I need to refine Dao marks with a slower speed. My efficiency should be around the same level as the two venerables, but I need to stop multiple times to pretend that I am out of immortal essence. Of course, I cannot be overly weak, otherwise, they will want to work together to get rid of me. Fang Yuan had a good grasp of this situation, he knew what to do. He had abundant life experience after all. Especially in the 500 years of his previous life, all sorts of failure, pain, and losses became the valuable foundation that supported him. Keeping a low profile while profiting greatly. By the time I expose this secret, I am sure the two venerables will not be able to keep their cool. Fang Yuan activated cooking luck pot to inspect his luck again. His luck still resembled a furnace. Fang Yuan had inspected this many times already, he had some guesses about it. This was caused by his status as a refinement path venerable. His luck's appearance was stabilized and would not change for a period of time. The furnace was still quite crude, it had cracks remaining. But from the vast number of cracks, 2 or 3 of them had mended. This was because the sovereign immortal aperture had already completed the first earth vein, the second one was on the way. It had also completed the first water vein. These were all helping to stabilize his foundation. And compared to the past, there was a huge change on the surface of the furnace. There was a lotus flower pattern. The lotus flower pattern was clearly referring to rank 9 heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus. It showed how significant this immortal GU was to Fang Yuan. The lotus flower pattern went one round around the outer layer of the furnace, it extended to the bottom and turned into several lotus roots. These lotus roots went deep into the bottom of the furnace and burned together with the firewood that represented immortal essence. Compared to the weak fire earlier, the furnace was fully lit now, the flames expanded by several times, showing great growth. There was no lid on the furnace, the scene inside could be seen. The immortal crane cloud that symbolized heaven form and the green lotus cloud that was heavenly essence treasure Imperial Lotus were both gone now. Instead, there was a piece of blue-white ice, symbolizing the truthful floating ice. The blue-white ice was heated in the furnace, slowly melting and generating a beautiful halo. At the top of the furnace, there was a large amount of reddish-brown sand dust, floating like a cloud. The reddish-brown sand dust condensed into one lump and slowly went into the furnace. It was easily melted and infused into the furnace, fixing the cracks and slowly making the furnace smoother from its crude state. This should be referencing my action of refining natural Dao marks. If I go all out on this, the sand dust will pour down rapidly and block my opening of my furnace, it can even put out the fire at the bottom. Excessive progress is not good, this shows the terrible outcome of facing two venerables' suppression at the same time. Fang Yuan had used luck inspection many times, he was able to reference the phenomena he saw to actual events that were happening more easily. Even though rank 8 cooking luck pot was too low in rank and did not suit the current Fang Yuan, it still displayed the profundity of luck path, reminding Fang Yuan that the most important variables to him now were refining Dao marks and also heaven path development. The refinement of Dao marks can progress slowly, but I also need to unseal the truthful floating ice in secret. Right now, immortal essence is not my burden, it is my advantage instead. I need to use all my immortal essence and convert my resources into foundation and strength. Venerables all had one main and one specialty path. Fang Yuan had planned from long ago to use refinement path as his main, and heaven path as his specialty. Refinement path was his main cultivation, but refinement path itself was weak in the fighting aspect. This was a publicly known fact. In this situation, Fang Yuan needed another path to support his battle strength. This path should have few cultivators, for example, painting path. That would allow him to catch enemies off guard and prevent them from having precaution against him. Even though there were many paths in existence, Fang Yuan did not have many choices. Looking at his situation, heaven path was the best choice. There were almost no heaven path cultivators, the criteria was too hard to achieve. Heaven path itself was very special and had extraordinary potential, its might was also unrivaled. Refinement path is main, heaven path is specialty. This was Fang Yuan's current cultivation plan. The heaven-refining demon Venerable title that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and Star Constellation Immortal Venerable gave to Fang Yuan was truly appropriate. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Less than report chapter greater than so we can fix it as soon as possible.